Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Happy Mother's Day to you all, or all of your parents, your mums specifically. What a terrible start. I've already stumbled over my opening gambit. I'm going to quit this stream and start again. No, not really. Guys, welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. We've got the link in the description, in the pinned comment. If you do want to come on, I've got one person in the background with me right now, and we're going to get going and talk all about what happened last night. Was it as a consequence of the late goal? If the late goal doesn't happen, the VAR decision, that's a disgrace, an absolute farce. If that doesn't happen, does Conte come out and drop the quote-unquote truth bombs that he drops? And who was he aiming the storm at? Was it at the club? Was it at the owners? Some people think it was. Other people are saying it was entirely at the players. We've got takes left and right and centre to go through, as well as the comments themselves. Plus, we'll talk a little bit about the game, because that's what started the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spurs Talk Show. Please smash the like button on your way in or out, or any point during the show that you find the urge. Let's get this show on the road. Spurs Talk Show starts right now. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, McDoherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the don't fuck it up now, Go and win it! Let's go for chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes! He's won it! He's gonna win it! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! We did it! Yo, check that out. Every time I see that opening gambit, I think back to happier times when I had slightly more of a jawline, when Tottenham could surprise to the upside once upon a time. It was only 12 months ago, guys. It was only 12 months ago. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. Right, this is going to be a quick one because I know it's Mother's Day. I know you're all going to be sitting down, although there's 70 of you already in the house, which is amazing to see. Maybe you're done with Mother's Day. Maybe it's not a thing where you are. Maybe it's just a coincidence that some of you want to get some opinions off your chest. And I can already see people in the comments that are coming through with their takes. And I love it. Please smash the like button for me. Smash the subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're not subscribed and you want to comment, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button to comment. You get immediate instant access. But it's a cheeky little ploy that a lot of YouTubers do to get more people to subscribe, especially on controversial topics like this. We've got two people in the background. Before I bring them in, let me just quickly say hello to everyone in the comments that's here right now, and then we'll get into what's happened. Stinging Nettles in the house saying, starting? Yes, sir. We're starting right now. Simon Waters is here saying, this chat should be interesting. Well, we'll see where we go with it. Do you know what? I've actually slept on my initial... I put a tweet out last night, immediately when I saw it, and it was like, I still stand by what I said. Like, he has to go. You can't say that. You can't throw a plate. You can't throw your team under the bus. Like, you can't do it. But having slept on it, and now looking into it and seeing that, you know, maybe there's a little bit more kind of to it than than what I initially saw and thought. And obviously, it's better to sleep on things when you're emotional anyway before you have your outburst. But I had like a lot of comments saying that I'm right. And a lot of people telling me that I should shut down my account because I'm a clown. And then the same person immediately follows me on Twitter. So, there's lots of controversial takes. Let's go. Let's see what's happening. Stephen's in the house saying Conte laying down truth bombs. The players need to be called out. They're not killers, weak-minded. They are at fault for shitty cup performances against lower competition. I would say, whilst they're at fault, as is the guy dropping the truth bombs, my man Stephen. We're going to be talking about that. I'm going to get the opinions. In fact, what? Listen, we can go through everyone in a second. Let me bring the two people in to say hello to them. First and foremost, we've got Mia in the house. How you doing, Mia?
Yeah, not too bad, Sean. Thank you.
Good to see you. Stay there 1 second. And we've got a new caller. I think this is the first time I've seen you, my man. Is it Dan? Is it?
Yes, it's me.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Right, stay there, guys. Let me just finish up saying hello to anybody in who hasn't come in yet. And if anyone does want to join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. As I say, the link is at the top. 100 people in the house. Smash the like, people. Smash the like. Where did I get to? Ruben Kumar's in the house. This is what Spurs does to a man, I guess. Tell me about it, my man. It was my birthday yesterday. Ruined my birthday. And Conte is certainly a volatile man, much like myself. Let me get my face and everyone's face out the way on this. I've got the wrong. Let me get that. There we go. Now we're back in the game. Let's put a bit of background flavour to it. Okay. Where was I? We got proud to be a Geordie. How's what's happening, Geordie? Proud to be a Geordie. Shout out to all the mothers and MILFs on this fine Mother's Day. And to all the mothers who are no longer with us. Absolutely. RIP to them. Sad times for a lot of people, I guess, today, remembering their mum who may not be with them. But yeah, big up to everybody who's going through whatever they're going through. Dunkle Stalks in the house. Spot on, Stephen. Good to see you, Dunks. Alan Sibley's in the house. What's happening, Alan? Good afternoon, Sean. Good afternoon to you. Peter McCormack's in the house. Conte has sized these players up in the time that he has been here, and he is just saying what he sees. Should he be doing it in the media, though? What's the purpose of doing it out in the public, Peter? That's what we want to talk about. Joe, never seen the intro before. Have you not? It's been around, but I'm not doing that many live streams at the moment, mate. So I've got, I think, too many things going on in my life. So, but I thought today would be a special occasion. Big up, Sean says, Coys, big up to you, mate. Lukey's in the house. Big up to you, mate. Joe's in the house. Was going to say, who's that slim guy? Yeah. That was the yesterday version of me. David Clark, hi from Leicester. Hi, David from Surrey. Top man, Sean. What's happening, Mark? Good to see you, buddy. Stephen Flynn's in the house saying he absolutely loves what Conte said. Long overdue. Interesting. Seb Shah's in the house. At least a manager with the bollocks to call out Daniel Levy. But I don't think he did call out Daniel Levy, Seb. I initially thought he did, but actually I don't think he did. And we're going to go through that in a second. Tempest Fugit's in the house, or Fug It. How you doing, Temp? Big up, my man. Big up to Paul. Big up to Solista, the musician. I listen to your songs every day on Twitter, mate. They're very talented, and I very much loved the one that you did for Bugsy Malone and myself a couple of weeks back. It was very, very cool. Thanks, mate. Douglas Storks. Are you serious, Sean? Am I serious about what? I'm not sure what I've said yet. Not sure, but probably serious with an element of sarcasm. Dave's in the house. Peter M saying, big up, Sean. Dave's in the house saying, Conte's doing what Conte does. It was inevitable, just like his turgid, horrible football. If he gets sacked today, I just won't care. I just want to enjoy football again. Yep. I know what you feel, man. I know how you feel, man. Max is saying Conte sacrificed this season and his job to expose the board. Billy Big Bollocks type move. Who's benefiting from it? It's not really Billy. He wants out, I think. I think he wants out, Max. But I'll get everyone else's opinion in just a second. Edgy, Orangy, them teeth. Whose teeth? Not sure. Derek Smith's in the house. What's happening? Morning to you. Chris is here as well. Anyone else I haven't said hello to? He's been in sport since 1960-61 season. I'm so used to inconsistency. I'd much rather watch inconsistent attacking football than this inconsistent defensive rubbish being served up now. I feel you, my man. That's exactly how I am at the moment, really. Let me see who else I haven't said hello to. 24 Zeb, what's happening, buddy? Daniela Zito, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Daniela. Joey's in the house. The players and board have been trashing the badge for years. Conte is the only person in Tottenham Hotspur Football Club fighting for the badge. I don't know if I agree with that, mate. I think he's fighting for Conte's brand, personally. I don't know. But listen, there's one other person I'm going to bring in quickly. Let me just, before I do, Phil's in the house. Big up, Shawnee. Trying to keep up. Conte calling out the players and owners for what they are bottle jobs, cowards, no desire to win. Conte has his fault, but the owners outweigh it all. I don't think he's calling out the owners, mate. I don't think he is. We're going to go through the line by line on it, but we'll see. Kem's in the house. I'm gonna just quickly run through and say hi, David. Hello to Joe. Hello to Tony Skews, to Paul Brown, to Grant, Echo Sonic, to Lee Adler, and to I'm Confused, who finishes up the comments quickly with Conte's outburst is that of a coward who's trying to save face. He needs to accept responsibility for his part in this. Let me bring in the fourth man quickly. Dermatron, how you doing, bro?
Not too bad. How are you, Shawnee? Sorry for ringing you. I didn't realise you were on. So I do apologise. Do apologise, but Matt, look, it's a shit show, isn't it? It's an absolute shit show.
Yeah,
I think Conte has to take a lot of responsibility for what he said last night, and I can't believe it. But look, it's Tottenham, isn't it? We're a circus at the moment.
Before we get into the majority of the press conference, because I think. Let me just ask you guys quickly, because I want to make sure that you can, if I do this, that you can hear it. Can you guys hear this?
You are finding an alibi, another alibi.
Can you hear that? You can hear it. Can you?
You try to find alibi.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fiery part where he starts to lose it. But before we get into that, right? We lost the game 3, or we drew the game 3-3. We ended up losing the 2 points. For me personally, I'll just give you my quick take on the game. I thought we played with the ball very well. I thought we were absolutely abhorrent without the ball. I personally didn't have that many complaints with Antonio Conte and his system, his formation. I think the team sort of picked itself with once you play, it was the same 11 from last week. It was the 11 that I would have gone for. And then the substitutions, a lot of people were complaining about the substitutions, but 2 of them were forced very early, right? So you can't do anything about Richarlison for Decky. You can't do anything about Ben Davies for Perisic. And then you only have one more opportunity to make a sub during the game. Now, you could argue maybe you could have made it earlier, but we were 3-1 up. I don't know why you would bring on any more offensive players. I personally didn't have an issue with anything that Conte really did on the day. And so when I was on the stream on the Irish Hotspur and it went and we ended up drawing the game, I was furious with the VAR decision, but the stream was absolutely lambasted with Conte out because of the result, I guess. But me personally, I didn't think that there was too much that Conte did wrong, absent maybe the strategy of, when we don't have the ball, going back to a 5-4-1 and inviting all that pressure when you know that the defense is pretty vulnerable. But my personal take, I wasn't that angry with the situation. Mia, I'm going to come to you. Let me get rid of this for a second, because I know obviously most people are going to want to talk about the press conference stuff, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I just want a quick review from all of you on the game, and then whilst Mia, you're talking, I'm going to bring in 2 other guys into the chat. So Mia, what was your take on the game itself?
So mostly, I do agree with you. However, I kind of feel like that when we were up 3-1, I felt like we just allowed them to have that pressure where Conte can make that decision. So why is he telling these players to do that? If they're doing it and he doesn't agree with it, call one of them over, get the message across to the other guys saying, don't do this. Keep attacking. Don't let them give them the ball. Don't allow them to have that, put that pressure on you. Why didn't he tell them to try and get that ball back, win it back, and to transition quick and try and score another goal? Why did we back the heck off? And that's down to Conte, because that's down to his tactics, right? So that's how I kind of see it. So I feel like he was wrong because he allowed us to back off. He allowed us to do that. It is down to him, because tactically he makes those decisions.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I would 100% agree. And the fact that we went in at half time 1-0 up and then we concede within 35 seconds. What's going on with the halftime team talk where we're not focused and concentrating. And then from then on, though, I guess I totally take your point. Dan, can you? Sorry, mate. Yeah, you got a TV on in the background. I'll come to you quickly, mate. But what's your Yeah, please turn it off. I'll get the, yeah, thanks, mate. What's your take on the game, my man? And before we get into the Conte press conferences, obviously, just quickly on the game, do you think that the outburst would have happened had Tottenham won the game 3-2? Did the VAR decision, was that the catalyst for all that we've now heard and seen since?
I think Spurs have been sloppy this season anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Conte will be gone at the very soon anyway. after that outburst.
Yeah, and as far as the game itself, were you like what was your thoughts on the game? Did you think that Tottenham deserved the result, deserved the victory? Were you upset with the VAR decision? What were you thinking there?
The VAR decisions are questionable. But I was in the chat in David Harris's chat. I'm a regular in David Harris's chat, so
yeah, I recognise the name.
Yeah.
Good man. All right. Thanks, mate. We'll come back to you in a little while about the Conte comments. Dermatron, what's your take on the game, buddy? You 3-3. Was it a fair result? I've got the stats. You know, I know that Sava's in the chat. Morning, Sava and Dunks. How you doing, guys? I know Sava is not someone who has any time at all for XG. I was looking at the XG of the game. Southampton got, I think, 3.07 for XG, and Tottenham only had 1.86. Now, look, over the course of the match, to me, that tells you that Southampton's goals were Tommy Tappins. I'm winding Sava up as a personal joke. Dermotron, what's your take on the game, my man?
Firstly, I have to agree with Sava. I cannot stand stats. They do my head in. I just watched the game. I see with my eyes. Look, we were very sloppy. We should not have let a 3-1 lead go, first off. We were playing the bottom side of the Premier League. Now, you can blame that on Conte. The players should get a big blame in that as well. They're the ones that switched off, 20 seconds at the start of the second half. You got Dyer and Kane on the line, basically on the end of the goal. It's given the player, well, look, you've got another bit of the goal wide open. Look, it's both blamed. I'm very disappointed. The VAR decision was ridiculous. But that's
it's got to be up there with the worst decision from the referee, followed by the worst decision by VAR this month at least, right? I haven't seen many worse than that one.
I haven't, Sean, but you can use that as an excuse. But again, it's the players that have let us down. They switch off, and they should be taking a hard good look at themselves in the mirror this morning. They won't, but they should do. And I think Conte's just come out and called it as it is. And you can't really blame him.
Called it as it is, or calls it as he sees it? And did he include himself under? He's very happy to throw everybody else under the bus, whether or not he includes. He didn't include himself, did he?
Yes, he didn't. No, yes, he didn't include himself. Very clever how he did that, to be fair. But I think he's saying what we're all been thinking. But I think he does this normally when he's going to leave a club. He just comes out and has his outbursts. And I think
brand protection, right?
Huh?
Brand protection.
Brand protection. You're probably right, Sean. I mean, I think the VAR decision, yesterday's meltdown during the match, 3-1 up, 15 minutes to go. We should have saw that through. We're playing Southampton, for Christ's sake. We're not playing a Man City or a Liverpool or an Arsenal or Chelsea. We should be able to see that through. And I think 100%. He just... look, the players have to take blame for themselves. Very angry with that performance yesterday.
Nice one, Derm. All right, Dunks, I know, Dunks, you want to get onto context, and I can see you like chomping at the bit there to say, no, he did criticise, but before you do, because we're going to go around just on the game itself. I know everyone wants to get straight onto the comments, so we're going to do that in a minute, but just quickly on the game, how did you take it? Did you think we were worthy of the win? Did you think we shot ourselves in the foot? Was Conte responsible for telling us to defend too deep? Should we be able to go hard with a higher line and press better against a team that's sitting rock bottom of the Premier League? What was your take on the game?
Well, I don't think we can pressure anybody with this defense because we can't go up high. So I have no problems with Conte's tactics, at least in this game. And I think that he made the right substitution. But the players just wasn't up for it, and there is just this culture in this club that they can't take pressure, and it's not just in the game. It's also when we are chasing someone in the league, we can certainly perform. But when other teams are chasing us, and we have to hold our lead against other teams, we'll just collapse.
Yeah. Okay.
And
someone got a cup of tea on a pot on a stove or something. I can hear like a whistle getting louder. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, Dunks, carry on, mate.
Yes, and I will say I think that we deserved to win actually, but well, after our 3-1 goal, I actually think that no, let me rephrase that. After the 3-1 game, I don't think that we deserve to win because after that we just thought, okay, this game is won, and
we sat back, right? We sat back, yeah.
Yes, but I didn't. I'm not convinced that that's a tactical thing that Conte is telling the.
If it's not a tactical thing though, and I'll come to Sab on this one because there's 8 of us in the stream, so we'll keep going around dunks.
And it might be. Yeah. It might be. I'm just not convinced about it.
Okay, Saba, if it's not a tactical thing, then if it is a mentality thing, is there not some responsibility on this winning mentality manager, this elite manager, to instill some of that kind of ethos that he has? Like, what is a £15 million a manager year paid for?
No, I'm sorry. I'll go in, Sean. I'll go in. I don't care. I'm not going to sit on the fence. Conte is shocking. I'm sorry. How can we sit here and go, this isn't a tactical thing? Conte has a group of players where defense is our weakest part of the team, right? So he adopts a formation and a setup which relies on defending.
No, which covers the defense.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Hang on. Right? It is shocking. Our best attributes as a football team are attacking. Yet he sits back. I'm sorry, I'm not going to believe that the players just do this by themselves because it's every single game, right? His substitutions are some of the worst I think I've seen from any manager at Tottenham in my 40 years.
Not yesterday, though, right? Couldn't do anything about yesterday's ones.
Every day, every game. Why bring on Emerson Royal? Why this constant need to have to get Emerson Royal onto the pitch at any given time, right? I'm sorry. We've gone to the bottom of the league team, right, that just literally got beaten 2-0 at home by Brentford. Brentford went there with complete ease, didn't concede and scored 2 goals, right? We go there. Southampton are all over us. Southampton dictated the game in the middle of the park because we don't want to play football. We want to sit back and we want to counter-attack teams. You can't sit back and counter-attack every single game. It doesn't work. His football is some of the worst I've ever seen as a fan. Now, listen, I know what I'm going to get back from this. I know what I'm going to get back, Sean. Levy. Yeah, we know what Daniel Levy is. We know the owners. But in the last 5 games, Sean,
2 things can be true at the same time, right?
Absolutely.
You can have an owner that needs to do more, that hasn't got the right approach to risk, and that that gets too involved in transfers or whatever. But at the same time, you can have a manager who thinks he's doing us a favour to be at this club,
right?
And that tactics doesn't suit the setup.
So I've got people in your chat right now saying, Savvy, you talk some shit, right? Look at the players he's been given. Let's be really honest, Sean, right? We're playing bottom of the league, Southampton.
Yeah,
bottom of the league, and we can't beat them with Richarlison.
Who tied Manchester United a couple of games ago?
They just draw against them.
They just draw against Manchester
United.
Southampton team. People rate them.
But this is what we do. We make excuses like that to make ourselves feel better about why we're.
But it's a fact.
No, it is a fact.
You've got to let me get my point out, guys. You've got to let me get my point out, right? At the end of the day, is it a fact that they're bottom of the table?
Yeah, they are.
Right, they're bottom of the table, right? Yeah. Is it a fact that the last time they scored 3 goals was over a year ago against Tottenham Hotspur? The last time they scored 3 goals. We go to Southampton, make them look like a good team, make them look like a very, very good team, right? They had all the control of the game. We counter-attacked, we had some nice counter-attacks. They controlled the game. They brought on players that went forward, that tried to attack, that tried to win the game. We bring on defensive-minded players because that's what Antonio Conte does, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting really fed up with this narrative, right, that Conte hasn't got the players, Sean, because in our last 5 games, we failed to beat Sheffield United's B team, Wolves, who were 4th bottom when we played them, who hadn't won for 3 or 4 games and got smashed 4-2 yesterday by Leeds, conceded 4 goals to Leeds. We couldn't score against them. We've been beaten by Leicester, who are in a relegation battle, right? Yep. We've been beaten by Nottingham Forest B team in the cup, right? Sheffield United's B team, Leicester, Wolves, Villa, Southampton. But yet, look at the players he's been given. I'm sorry. What? Christian Romero, Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg, Perisic, Porro, Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison. These players aren't good enough to beat Southampton. The excuses for me, Sean, have to stop.
No, I
the
get
owners I hate, but this manager came out yesterday, and I know you're going to talk about it, came out yesterday and attacked the club because, funnily enough, he's done it at the time where he can't get results. I didn't see him doing this in the summer when he was telling everyone he was happy with his squad. I didn't see him doing this.
Well,
then.
that's my major gripe with him is the flip-flop volatility of his press conference.
I agree.
I can't. I've said it since Moura last season when he first came in. Me personally, I have a massive issue with his press conferences. I know he's an emotional, volatile Italian guy. I get it, but for me, you're hot, you're cold, you're hot, you're cold. And
Agreed.
I know that Dunk's saying that he did call himself out in the press conference. I don't think he called anything out to the same extent as what he called the players out. I know people think he called the owners out. He's qualified that with the board and said, no, he was just aiming it at the players. To me personally, whether you're aiming it at the players or not, you've got 10 games left to go in a season where top four, whether or not people will give a shit about it right now because they're so pissed off with what happened in the cup exits, it's going to be the difference between having an extra 50 million quid in the bank to pay for one of those centre-backs that everyone's moaning about right now. And him saying that right now, I think we can all suggest that he's trying to get a sack and that the players are downing tools for him.
Yeah.
Mari, I'll come to you first, mate, to rebuttal, because I know that Perchi and Sava feel similarly on this. So I'll come to you, Mari. I'd imagine you probably don't feel the same. How you doing, by the way, mate? I haven't seen you for ages. You good?
Oh, yeah. Well, I look like crap because it's still morning here.
Yeah. That's all right, mate. I look like crap all day long anyway. So
yeah. So I apologize. I don't have put my beauty makeup yet. I want to come at a sensible, the whole picture type of explanation of what's going on with Conte, with this club. I feel that Conte is basically saying everything that the previous 15 managers have wanted to say, right? People know I'm a counselor, right? I've studied psychology and whatsoever. And you have to listen from beginning to the end that interview. Because I think people are taking some parts here and they're coming with slants and agendas.
yeah.
The guy said, I can't hide this anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Talk about, all right, we mentioned the summer. Oh, I like the signings. I like the club. It's the same things that Conte said. It's the same thing Poch says. The same thing gun to the head Nuno said. You know, these are things you got to be able to listen what the person's saying. He's saying, I cannot hide anymore, right? All of us go through a frustration, maybe in a job or a relationship, where, you know, we're holding back, and then you finally have to unleash, right? Right? Yesterday, he was vomiting, right? As we could say, in regards to the players and with the club. Yeah. I would say this about the game. I wasn't shocked about the game. It's been all year. Choppy. Oh, someone tried to call me.
That's okay.
Choppy football, right? You look at his best teams at Chelsea, Inter. I'll use his last team, Inter. Even the year that he left last season, I'm like, man, Inter is a well-oiled machine. When have we seen that at Spurs, right?
So that means you can't beat Southampton at the bottom of the table. No, I'm not hearing that. I'm sorry. I'm not hearing that.
But here's the thing. We got cases of that on every manager for the last couple of years with Poch, with Jose, right?
Mari, sorry, people need to stop doing this. Why is it that every other manager has been able to be criticised, but when anyone tries to criticise Conte, what people do is group all the managers, and by the way, it's not been 15. This narrative is a lie. It's not been 15.
It's 12 managers.
12, right?
Three of them were caretakers, which are never part of the plan.
Yeah. Why is it, Mari? Why is it then that no one can criticise Conte without bringing in the other 12 managers? Why can we not, for once, just have a conversation about Antonio Conte as the manager?
Because Simon, it's really hard when you have players who have played under those managers that is still within that team. You have to understand.
How many from yesterday? How many from yesterday? Go on.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'd love to know.
You have one, right? Right. We're blaming Conte, and mind you, is he perfect? Nobody is bigger than the club. No one is above reproach, right? In life, in general.
Agreed.
From your church pastor to your politician so I get what you're saying. But when it's hard for me to see Dyer not follow his man, join Romero to one of Southampton's goals.
Who plays Dyer?
It's hard. But the thing is, if you play Dyer, you have to play Sanchez, right?
No, but Mari, I actually would say that whilst Dyer was responsible for his position was poor, so was Romero. Everyone gives Romero a pass.
Yeah. I agree with you.
He's a future centre back. Romero is fucking useless.
I agree with you. I was going to get there because both of them failed the club. So it's kind of hard for me, and that's why I respond to your post on Twitter. With these undisciplined players, you can only do as much, and then that same undisciplined was with Mourinho. Like, it's hard to separate that because I've been seeing this the last 10 years. Gosh, the guys can have a testimonial. So it's hard. Like I said, Saba, I don't completely disagree that no one's beyond reproach. I'm not getting it. That's like I'm coming with a holistic view. But it's hard to separate that, man, we have so
Why is it hard? Why is it hard? What makes me laugh is this. Look, you look at Jose, right? Jose, our fans, right? Our fan base as a collective hated Jose. Everyone was Jose out. He's a dinosaur. He's lost it. Get him out. His tactics are awful. Blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm not saying everyone, Mari, but a lot of people, right? Conte, Jose this, Jose that. Jose had a far worse squad than Conte and was ridiculed. Conte has a much better squad, much better players, and yet whenever we lose a game, it's never Conte's fault. Now, by the way, Mari, what I'm not saying is, and Sean will be testament to this, Perchi, who works with me, will be testament to this, I blame all of them. I blame the problem with this, Mari, is it seems that if anyone wants to say anything about Conte, right? If anyone wants to say anything about Conte, people go, oh, you're backing the owners. No. Right? Owners, manager, scouts, director of football, academy, the whole thing is crap. But Conte gets away with murder. Conte gets away with getting knocked out to Sheffield United's B team and then people going, oh, the players. Nah, sorry. There was so much talent on that pitch that he couldn't beat Sheffield United.
Conte last night said, and I'll come to Perchi to bring you in. And so let me finish what my point is. I'll let you answer it. But before you do, I'm just going to get through a couple of super chats. And by the way, guys, please keep smashing the likes. 215 of you in the house. I don't even know what likes we're on, but I'm guessing we can have more. So please smash them for me. Conte said, I don't want to talk about the tactics. I don't want to talk about the tactics tonight. I want to talk about the spirit of the players. Like, convenient, you don't want to talk about the tactics, right? But the spirit, and then he goes on to blame about Sheffield United, etc. I want you to include that in your answer when I come to Paul Markey's super chat. Before we get to Paul Markey's, Adrian Chia saying, big up panel, Conte admit he does take the big money. Well, yeah, it'd be hard not to admit it because he's getting paid more money than anybody else in Tottenham Hotspur. He's getting paid 4.5 times more money in a salary than Daniel Levy, who gets called out all the time for the money that he gets paid. And I think that Daniel Levy, in terms of what he's generally responsible for, where his expertise is in terms of generating a cash cow, he's pretty much more successful at that than Conte's been at Tottenham. Anyway, Adrian Chia also says last night's shows we press mildly high up and we cracked. Anyone want to take that one? Did we press mildly high up last night? I don't think we did we?
The beginning of the second half. Yeah.
We pressed, did we? Yeah. Okay.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're clutching if you want to go with that one. Let's be honest.
I don't think we pressed our way out of a paper bag.
Yeah, we saw Arsenal take on Sporting on Thursday night, 48 hours earlier, with the same 3-4-3, with a team of players that do not have anything like the same valuations or the same, brand gravitas as Tottenham's do, and they could press and put Arsenal, who apparently are one of the best teams in world football at the moment, and put them to shame on the night. So I don't know why Tottenham's system under Conte can't do it. Surely they can. Paul Markey says, stop jumping on Conte. All he did was to tell the truth, and we all know that. Time for a major player clear-up, bringing in hungry, ambitious players. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Adrian, for your super chats. Perchi, I want to come to you on Paul's one. How do you feel about it? Yeah, how do you feel about this?
What Conte said, yeah, great. I mean, but how can you take the man seriously when he's getting paid all that money at the football club? and Sava knows my feelings on this because we share similar things. And I said this. Why did he not walk at the end of the transfer window when he didn't get the players he wanted? Because that for me would have united everyone. Because everyone had gone, do you know what? He's saying it how it is. Does this rant come out if we win? If that penalty doesn't get given? Because let's be frank and honest, it wasn't a penalty. It shouldn't have been given.
Right.
We draw the game 3-3. But
Exactly.
my point being is, does this rant happen if we win 3-2? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No,
it doesn't. It comes because his team has capitulated. And
I
it's
think that in the dressing room it does.
100%. I agree with that.
It's easy now for him to say this. It's very easy. Everyone jumps on it. Levy's the problem. Levy's not the reason we lost the game. Listen, I want the change of ownership. He wasn't the reason we lost the game. He wasn't the reason we lost to Sheffield United's B team. Got absolutely humiliated at the King Power. Lost to Wolves. He isn't the reason we lose those games. The owners aren't the reason we lost those games. The players we have are good enough to beat those teams. Our tactics are horrendous. Basically, we go 3-1 up. Let's be honest. Me and Savile, we were watching the game together. We were doing a live watching it. Most boring game of football ever. We didn't deserve realistically to be 3-1 up. Our talent put us 3-1 up. The talent at the football club put us 3-1 up. We have better players than Southampton. End of conversation. That's fact. We then look at it and go, really? Like how we then decided, do you know what? Instead of with 15 minutes to go, let's go and get the jugular. Let's go and win the game 4-1, 5-1. No, what we'll do, we'll sit back, sacrifice possession with a team that we all know and we can all agree that we've got very average defenders. So we're happy to sit back and defend with crap defenders that everyone keeps saying. What? I don't understand it. The first goal, we all talk about the penalty not being a penalty. The second goal is from the worst defending I've seen in the Premier League all season. We've allowed a 55-year-old Theo Walcott to stand in the middle of the park and tap it in.
Seven Tottenham players in the penalty area for that second goal. Only three Southamptons.
So
absolutely unacceptable.
Can I bring up 2 points to what Percy says?
Sure.
The one, I guess, is a question of philosophy. So, and you may be right, or I may be right. So, you're saying that because we don't have the defenders to hold a 3-1 lead the last 10 minutes, we should put the gas on the pedal and continue to attack those last 10 minutes.
No, I wasn't saying that. Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we're 3-1 up against bottom of the league. I expect our team to go, do you know what? Let's go and try and absolutely batter this team now. We're 3-1 up with 15 minutes to go. We then put our foot off the pedal completely and then just allow them to do whatever they want. Yes, defensive errors, correct. Why can't we? And Sava made a good point. What was the point of bringing Emerson Royale on? What did that benefit us?
Well, what was the score at that point? We were 3-1 up, right?
We were 3-1 up, and he brought Emerson Royale on.
No, 3-2.
Was it 3-2? Sorry, 3-2.
He was trying to hang on. I guess it was a hang on motif, right?
Yes. And got skinned so many times on that right side, so I think it was a good idea to get Emerson in.
Yeah, I don't have a problem personally with that substitution either. Yeah.
I do. It's every game. It's every game.
I guess it's a difference in philosophy because, like I said, usually if you're up 3-1,
every game.
3-1.
Yes,
I guess. Or you.
No, Dunkelstalk. Tell me where I'm wrong. Every game.
Hang on, Sav. Let Murray finish his point, and then.
Sorry, Murray.
Yeah, because I don't want to lose the other point. If you're up 3-1, right? If you had the better players, you would think, okay, we could just hunker down the last because right, Antonio Conte's teams, right, even his successful teams, right? Oh, we gotta lead this last 5-10 minutes. We're gonna hunker down, play defense, and walk out with a road victory. The other point I want to bring up with Percy of why this is all coming out now, right? And like I said, I like to look at the whole picture, right? Mm-hmm. He's having an interview, right? He's being somewhat interrogated, right? He mentions the word alibi, right? Because I could guarantee you he's already heard, right, the Conte outs. He's hearing phrases of Poch. So he's hearing all this, and he's thinking, oh, man, they're making me the fall guy, just like they made this other guy, Nuno, the fall guy.
Can I just answer on that?
And so when they mention alibi, right, like any human being, right, because we're human, you're going to get defensive. And he's like, hold up. You're gonna pin this all on me, or I can't hide this anymore. Someone posted on Twitter, Denzel Washington from Training Day. He basically went in that mode. I'm putting cases on everybody because if you're putting it on me, mind you, Dermot said he slightly included himself. Okay, but he's telling the truth. He said, "Oh, you're not going to pin this all on me." And yes, granted, he avoided the tactics, but that's how he was able to. It wasn't like he planned on saying it out, but he was in a situation where he was being interrogated, and he's like,
he's having a crack at the, because I've got the quote here. He says, "But does your future?" The uncertainty was coming from a journalist, and he said, "You are finding an alibi, another alibi. You try to find an excuse for the players. Okay, continue to do this. Find an excuse for the players. You do only this. You do only the excuse for the players. But the players may be my future. Then we lost confidence. They lost spirit. They lost being a team. Excuse. Try to protect them every time." And then he says,
"Can I ask a question, Sean?
The rant came out.
Sorry, can I ask a question then? All of this. Poor Conte. Conte's not got his players. It's the players. It's the previous 15 managers. Cool. Then stand up, be a man, and walk out.
You know what?
Right, hang on, Murray. Hang on. I've said all year. Sean, you know this, guys. Anyone who's worked with me and watched me, I've said this all year. In the summer, when he wasn't backed, right? Whatever that word means these days. Right?
Hate that word. Hate it.
Right? Turn around and walk out. He didn't. He said, "I'm happy." Cool. All right, you're happy.
He wants his money. When
we win, of course. Then when we win games, everyone's going Conte masterclass. Right? It's a Conte masterclass when we win games. And this is where I think the problem is, Mari. For me, this is what I don't like about it. And you know, right? Whether or not anyone else tells you what I think, I'm telling you what I think right now, not what other people tell you what I think. There is plenty of blame to go around to everyone. This isn't all on Conte, right? This is on everyone.
Yeah.
But the manager, when we win, gets praise from fans as to he is a genius. Look what he can do. Look at his tactics. The moment we lose, it's the players he's given a crap. But
Daniel Levy is the problem. Yeah.
But the teams he's losing to, other teams like Brentford beat easily, and Brentford don't have anywhere near the squad we do, right? So for me, this is the big thing. If in the summer he had turned around and gone, you know what? I'm a winner. I want to win things. They've not backed me. I'm walking out. I said, Sean, I said to you, Perchy, I would contribute £1,000 of my own money to get the man a statue. Build a statue of the man outside the ground and go, "Thank you for calling it out."
Everyone is a do as I say, not as I do, right? Everyone is a hypocrite in that, aren't they?
Why is this about being backed?
Yeah.
It's not about being backed. It's about the players not showing motivation on that pitch. And
but then who's meant to be motivating these players?
Hang on, let me finish my point, though. Let me finish my point.
One at a time, guys.
Hang on, let me finish my point. The point is this. When he loses, right, it's the owners, he's not being backed. It's, oh my God, look, the players are crap. This is the history of the club. When we win, it's a tactical masterclass. For me, what I think everybody needs to be consistent with their views, right? If it is the owners and only the owners, when we win games like we do 2-0 against a crap West Ham team, let's not all go overboard and talk about how he's a genius with his tactics, right? Then when we lose games, let's not hang out Conte to dry. For me, stay firm with your opinions. It can't be there to there.
Can I just say, because I haven't spoken for a really long time, Joe, what else I would say is that people all said, "Oh, the reason he didn't throw Dyer under the bus is because he wants to protect his players." Where has that gone now? He's quick to throw the players under the bus when it suits him, when it isn't going his way. Because everybody said that. Everybody said, "Oh, we're not." He doesn't throw Dyer under the bus. He wouldn't dare because it's not the right thing to do. And now look what he's doing, because he's throwing a tantrum because
he was trying to get the guy a new contract a couple of weeks ago.
Can I just make a point? Sorry,
he was trying.
One second.
Just wants to give him that contract, John.
So Dunk's first, then Perchy, And sorry, and there was also, of course, Alex. Welcome to the show, my man.
Hi, Sean.
I'll let you jump in at some point. We'll go diagonally down and then come up
diagonally down.
I don't have too long because I'm streaming from my phone. And it's probably overheat within 15 minutes. So
melt your hand.
I'm sorry.
We'll get to you. We'll get to you.
So it's technically it's a real meltdown. Okay.
Yeah. Go on, Dunks, mate. Go on, Dunks. What were you saying, bro?
Yeah. So you don't know if it's Conte's choice to give Dyer a new contract. I just don't think that any top 6 club manager would want to give Dyer a new contract.
He praised him. He's praised him though, hasn't he? As well. He said he could be the next big, the next. He could be a world class.
One of the best defenders in the Premier League. He said he came out and said that word from word.
He also said word for word, I don't want new. After getting battered by Aston Villa 2-0, he said, I don't want new centre backs. I think we're good enough in the centre back space, which was like every single person, whether you're Levy in or Levy out, every single person in the Tottenham community was like, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
It's the one thing. It's the one thing that unites everybody. Whether you hate each other for everyone's opinions, the one thing we can all agree on is that our centre backs are not good enough, right?
No.
But he said that they were. So
can I just ask the question for everyone on here? If yesterday and we had Nuno in charge, would everyone be in this exact same position? If Nuno was in charge of us and we capitulated, everyone would have gone, get that manager out of our club. He doesn't know what he's doing. But because it's Antonio Conte and he's a serial winner at football clubs that want to win stuff, we can't. We all the time we're scared to criticize him. I don't get it. He's not a martyr. Well, one second. He's not a martyr for the Enoch out and Levy out because he's getting paid by the same people. He's getting paid by the same people that he is calling out. He isn't calling them out. I would have respected him if he had walked out when he said, do you know what? Can't do it here. They don't give me the players I want. They don't give me this, that, and the other. I can't do it here. I'm going in on the 2nd of February when the transfer window slams shut. But he didn't. He stayed along because he's getting paid a fat wad. That's where I get frustrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me. There's 3 points. I quickly want to go back. I want to go back to Sava's point in that how he feels about Conte walking out, which I agree. In regards of, I will give him $1,000. Yesterday, I wanted to give $1,000. We say dollars here in America or pounds to contribute to Antonio Conte, because what he did yesterday, right? We know people who protest at the stadium, right? What he did yesterday was the protest. For me personally, I was like, "Thank you."
But Murray, he didn't.
Too late because he lost. Because he can't win.
Can I just quickly? Let me just read out the specific quote. Hang on, Murray, 1 second, mate. Murray, the very specific quote that everyone's thinking where he's calling out the owner, if you actually read it, I don't think he is at all. He said, why is it happening? Why? Because they are used to it here. They are used to it. They don't play for something important, yeah? They don't want to play under pressure. Talking about the players. They don't want to play under stress. It is easy in this way. Tottenham's story is this. 20 years, there is the owner, and they never won something. But why? The fault is, because that's where the quote gets cut off. They never won something, but why? And everyone launched on that and went, he's attacking the owner. The rest of the sentence was, the fault is always for the club or for every manager that stay here. He's saying people, when Tottenham don't win, people either blame the owners or they blame the managers. No one's blaming the players. He's not calling the club out. He's saying the journalists and the fans either go for the owner or for the players. They never, the manager. They never go for the players.
What in the counseling world, he diffused a bomb, right? Where now you're taking that angle and you're educated, you can come to that slant, and there are those who believe it. Wow, he called out the club. So what he did is just drop the bomb. He's smart. He's a very intelligent man. And that's why I said it was a masterclass. What he did yesterday.
Where is he called the club out though? He's saying the fault is only ever. He's saying you, as the journalist, you only ever go for the club or for the manager. Why not the players? Is what he's saying.
Like I said, he diffused a bomb. Right, you're taking that from that angle, right? Where there are others who believe, like myself, that he's calling out the club. That's why it's a topic of discussion on the channels. It's a discussion topic on Twitter, right? So he was successful in doing that, right? Either you love it or you hate it. It is the talk, right? That's what marketing people do, right? They want to get people talking. Either you love it or you hate it. Now, I don't want to forget the other 2 points, right? Okay. So how Simon feel about that way, that was a walkout. For me, that was kind of like the walkout yesterday.
Me too.
But then walk out.
Yeah.
Maury, just quickly, I need to go. By the way, Sean, I'm really sorry. I need to go for the wife's Mother's Day or whatever is going on today.
Thanks for coming on.
Just quickly, Maury, can I just say one thing before I go, right? Yeah. I want to say one thing before I go. This is the key thing, and I think everyone in the chat is attacking me for what I'm saying about Conte. I can't be clearer. It is the owners, it is the manager, it is the director of football, it is the academy. It is all of it. I'm not blaming just Conte. What I can't stand is when the manager wins, he's a genius. When we can't beat Southampton, Wolves, Leicester, Sheffield United, it's never his fault, right? Last thing I'll say on the club is this, right? If he's going to do what he did yesterday and he's going to throw his toys out the pram, I'm cool with that. If everyone's going to go, at last, a manager calls the board out, if you believe that's what he did, cool. But you know what? At the moment, it's just words. If he throws his toys out the pram and says, I'm going, I'll go, fair play to you, mate. But he's not. He's thrown the toys out the pram. And now we're hearing reports from people like Alistair Gold that, he's explained to the club that he wasn't having a go at them. It was about the players. So at the moment, all right, he's had a dig, but he hasn't stood by his own.
No, he's dug out the people that he needs to resurrect our season. If you're a player for Tottenham Hotspur and you've had your coach say you're a bottle job, you don't care, you're not playing for anything. All right, if I don't play for anything, I ain't going to play for you next week. You just called me out.
Sean.
But this is the thing, Sean. Right? I've really got to go. But just quickly, really quickly, someone said, I would love to see Sava walk away from 20 million. At the end of the day, then, if that's the case and it's all about not losing the money, then his rant yesterday is just words. It's just words. Have the courage of your conviction. If you truly believe that this club has got systematic problems, this club has got players that can't do what he wants to do, then walk away.
And Sava, I just have one thing, right? And if the club, right? If the club doesn't fire Conte, you do know why they don't fire Conte, right? Because it all comes back to money.
Of course, money.
I agree.
100%.
But
for them and him, Maury,
it's two-way street. Yeah,
two-way street.
Yeah,
they don't want to sack him because they don't want to. They don't want to pay. He doesn't want to walk away because he's going to lose money. At the end of the day, for me, this is what I said, Maury. All of them are to blame. I want a complete reset. I'm going to go and have a carbonara.
That top four.
I love you all.
Cheers, Saba. Everyone go over at 7 o'clock tonight for the Spurs review. Maury, just 1 second, mate. Before I come to you, I need to get Alex in. He hasn't said a word. He's been on the show for
Sorry, Sean. I need to pop off as well because I've got a Mother's Day to go to, so I have to pop off.
All right, Dermotron, thanks so much, man. What's happening on THFC Till I Die? When are you doing a show next?
We're doing one at 9 o'clock tonight on the Conte press conference. Me and Philip, and we're going to talk about it. Philip's got a completely different view to me, so we're going to have 2 different views. Okay. So yeah, everyone, please like and subscribe here. It's a great channel. Great to go back on, Sean.
Everyone get over to THFC Till I Die as well. Cheers, Dermotron. Merritt, happy Mother's Day to you, mate. To your mum and everything. See you soon, mate. Take care.
I want to comment on what you just said, Sean.
Can I say something?
Dunks, please. Alex hasn't said a word yet, mate. Let him go, and then I'll come to you next, Dunks. I promise.
So go on, Alex. I think I'm going to make 2 quick points. The first one is with regard to the money. We're saying, Levy doesn't want to sack him because of the money. He's looking after the interests of the club. It's in the interest of the club to be in the financially best position. So if he determines that that financially it's going to be better, we have a better chance of qualifying for top 4 in Champions League and being financially better off by keeping him, then that is the best thing to do. Even if the optics aren't great, even if the fans are disgruntled because we don't like the football, we have to accept that. That's my first point. The second point is, well, actually, I'm going to make 3 points. The thing is, though, Conte said in the past, I don't need the money. So he doesn't have that. Okay, he can be saying, well, I don't need the money, but I'd rather have it than not have it.
Yeah.
But he has in the past said, I'm last season, I'm prepared to walk away if I don't get what I want. Whereas now, he's not acting out on that. And the other thing is, I think we can all agree that there's blame to go around to everybody. But if you look at the sort of balance of that, is I took Conte's comments yesterday to essentially to say, look, I've lost the dressing room. You know, the players have got a stinking attitude. Nobody cares. They're completely selfish. Well, what's your job? You're supposed to be building the team. Yeah. You're not completly immune from...
What does 15 million quid a year get you if it's not to instill some sort of motivation, right? Because at the end of the day, his tactics are exactly the same every week. His formation's exactly the same every week. His team is largely the same every week, absent an injury that forces a change. So if all you're getting for £15 million is a template that was built the first week he got here and nothing's changed since, if the mentality of the players is not on any level on him to try and resolve and fix, then I don't know what £15 million gets you. It's a brilliant job. You come up with a fucking like a PowerPoint presentation at the start of your 18 months ago and just put it out every week in front of the team sheet. Go, that's it. The rest is over to you guys. Like when he's I don't ask. Someone put the comments up saying I don't ask the players to defend. I don't ask the players to sit back. Well, like punish them for not doing as you're telling them. Then, mate.
The thing is, and it goes to the second point.
Murray, sorry, mate. Sorry, there's a massive queue of people. I do want to get you. I know everyone's passionate. Dunk's next. Then I've got to get Bazza in. I don't know if Bazza's still there. He's gone away somewhere.
Let me just say my point because my phone is about to melt down. So I'll hit the 2 points. One, Alex just talked about, and I forgot her name. Also mentioned, right? Yeah. And even you mentioned in regards to the players, right? I would never throw the players under the bus. Right, I've studied the great coaches of Ferguson of all the sports, right, and they always have been put in a situation where they've had to either call a player either in house or out house and out of the house, and you have to look at the interview and how Conte came out with it. The thing with these players that is so frustrating is that they have failed the badge under the last current managers, and the last current managers couldn't say things until they finally had left the club. And for Antonio Conte to in regards to calling out the players, right to protect his brand, that narrative is false. Because first of all, everybody has a brand. You got players, right? I know he's not on the team, like Harry Winks. Oh, I'm not getting more playing time. I will be called up to England. You got Eric Dyer, a couple of months ago, I think last season, saying something similar. Like you got players on this club who are selfish. And you know what? I'm even going to include Harry Kane. Yesterday, you can't blame Conte for this, right? Twice, Kane could have passed it on 2 counterattacks, right? But like a striker does, he shoots shots, right? There was 2 chances, right? These are the things that frustrate him. And you have players in this club, former, past, and current, who have been selfish. And I appreciated that he finally called them out, right? Yeah. He might have called them out in the locker room, but now, you know what? The public needs to know. Though I already knew, but the public needs to know that these players are not playing fully for the club. And then the last thing I will say, just to answer Percy's question, is that, look, right? How much were we paying Nuno, right? Because you mentioned Nuno. And we're paying, right? It's like, if I buy a Porsche, I expect the Porsche to drive better than that Pinto that I brought, right? Okay. It's the same thing in life, right? If this was Nuno, would we be criticizing? Would we be protected, right? Because you answer your own question. It's not Conte. It's Nuno, right? Nuno doesn't have that cachet. He doesn't have that.
But just
hang on, Perch, mate. Sorry, there's a massive queue. But Murray, finish your point, mate, and then we're going to get round the houses. Perch will come back to you, mate, as well.
Nuno doesn't have that cachet. So yeah, you're correct. It's the same thing with Ancelotti. If you compare Nuno to Ancelotti, they don't have that cachet. If you don't have that cachet in life, fair or unfair, people are going to react that way. It's life. I agree. It's not fair, but it's part of life. When you have that cachet, when you have that CV, when you have that resume, you will have those extra benefits. You will have that extra protection. Either you like it or you don't. It's life.
I get you, mate. I get you, Mario. Thanks, man. Dunks, buddy. I don't know what you wanted to come back in to get back to an earlier point. We have to try and stick on topic more because I think everyone's lagging behind on their chance to recapture on things that were said an hour ago.
I basically had 2 points, and the 1 point was the same that this guy just talked. I don't remember your name. Sorry.
Mari.
Yeah, that it's not only Conte who has a resume that he wants to protect. It's also the players. So that's the first point. It's pretty much the same that he just said. The other point is that these players, right? If they can't handle being called out for the shit and the unmotivating shit that they do on the pitch, then I don't want them at this club. If they're gonna capitulate because of that, is that winners? Is that really the players that we want at our club? That cannot take to be slanted a little bit on.
Well, I think. Do you remember when Tim Sherwood was doing the same thing, and everyone thought it was an embarrassment to the club? And now Conte is doing it.
He called us out after a 4-0. But he was talking about the game specifically. When Tim Sherwood called out Tottenham the game, he was blaming the players for the game specifically. He's like the first goal. That was
so this is my point.
Conte was doing something.
This is my point. Yeah. This is my point, though. When Tim Sherwood made concrete criticisms of the players, everyone thought this is an embarrassment. He's an amateur, in the Tottenham manager seat, and Conte does more or less the same thing. Bringing what should stay in the dressing room or what usually stays in the dressing room out into the public domain, and he's telling the truth, and he's setting the world to rights. And of course, we're fans. We know there is some truth in what he's saying, but I think there is a double standard. It goes back to what Savile was saying, that when Conte does something that we fans think is positive, he's a genius, and then when it all goes pear-shaped, there's nothing to do with him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just before, I'm going to bring in Nick first on this one. How you doing, Nick? Listen, mate, I don't know if you want to get anything off your chest specifically, but there is a super chat here from Adrian I want to call out. It's been a while back, but we're going around in circles with the conversation anyway, so it's still relevant. And before I get to that, I want to call out Jory as well for joining as a new member of the show. Big up, Jozza. Really appreciate my man.
Jozza.
Always. Jozza.
Jozza.
My phone.
Cheers, Murray. Appreciate you, mate.
Sean, is Jozza a catfish for Jory?
Bye, Murray.
Cheers, Murray. Appreciate you, my man. See you soon, buddy.
Look, everyone's running when Barry comes on to talk about the weather.
Because they know you're going to.
Maybe I think you're going to start singing.
I've never seen so many flip flops in one street.
The Rollers are out, mate.
It's like being on the Copacabana beach right now, isn't it?
Captain Javiana up there. Driving the ship. No, look, I just watched a cracking game of football, Sheffield United Blackburn. That's the future. Sod watching Spurs. We might as well watch it. Yeah. I'm going to watch another good game, Grimsby Brighton, in a minute. So
I thought the game yesterday was a good game, by the way. I actually, for a neutral, I thought it was a good game. But Nick, what do you think about Adrian Chia's super chat here? It's not that no one can criticise Conte because the buck's got to stop with Conte. God forbid we have to have this same conversation with the next manager. Conte is just a symptom of the problem. So I guess Adrian's saying doesn't like you can criticise Conte, but ultimately, it's like papering over the cracks or band-aid on a bullet wound kind of thing. What are your
about this time next year? We'll be talking about the next manager. Whether Kane's going to sign a contract, whether Son's going to sign a contract, and then we're just going to go round and round and round. This is the issue. Look, the game yesterday was, I think, look, from a neutral point of view, I watched it back again. Look, I think it. Look, I'm not sure it was a penalty. But Sarr was in a position which gave the referee a decision to make. And if you're not putting yourselves in that position, you're not giving the referee a decision to make. Perisic was at fault for all 3 goals. He missed the header for the second goal that went across to Walcott. He didn't clear it for the third goal, for the chance that led to the penalty, and obviously the first goal straight after half time. He was, I don't know, I think he was looking up to the corner flag and giving it a cuddle. I don't know. He was so far out of position. Look, I think
he even scored, and he couldn't believe that he scored. He just stood there.
I knew
he was going to score, but he hit it into the ground. So
was he more relieved? Was he embarrassed that it's taken this long? What was the reason why he didn't celebrate? Like, it was a really important goal, right? We go 3-1 up, but he didn't really celebrate. Harry Kane didn't. Harry Kane just does his usual one. Pedro Porro looked fantastic, but when Perisic scored, do you think that was a bit of like, I'm not going to celebrate because I get called out by these fan base all day, every day? Or was it more like an embarrassment, kind of like, it's taken this long, it shouldn't have taken this long? What was the reason why he was very
he mishit it into the ground, so and it bounced up into the net.
Some might say that was a deliberately placed low.
Well, deliberately because he's deliberately shit. That's why. So that's why he was embarrassed that he had a shot that went into the ground. Obviously, Emerson Royale scored a better goal the other week against Manchester City. Clean through, bang. Look, I think he probably sat there. Actually, I've got some breaking news. He sat there and he thought, Sean Butler called me out, so I'm not going to celebrate because I'll get accused of it. I know Sean's got receipts on me. So.
I got receipts on everything, mate. My receipts have got receipts.
You've got more receipts than fucking HSBC, mate. That's what I was.
Listen,
look,
go on, Nick. Go on, mate.
I just think, do you know what? Today is a day of. I know we're all going to go round in it. We're all going to talk about it and everything else. I just think today's a day where let's just go and enjoy some good football by watching other football teams. Sheffield United scored an absolute banger to win the game in the 91st minute, 92nd minute or something to win 3-2. There is no way.
Team, that's why we lost.
There is no way if we played Sheffield United or Blackburn today, we'd have beaten them in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So actually, it's probably a good thing that we capitulated against Southampton, if I'm honest, because imagine the meltdown if we'd lost to Blackburn today.
No, you can't melt what's already melted. Like this like, I don't know, iceberg of Tottenham Hotspur is pretty much just like
it's like Willy Wonka when he sat there and he's designed the the palace for the Indian prince or whatever made out of chocolate, and the sun comes out and it just melts. That's just Tottenham Hotspur, right? The sun comes up, everything melts. We're in the chocolate.
Let me pivot this one. Elias, I'll come to you first, and then I want to bring Mia back in to get her take on this as well. I think Perchy's dropped off. I know he's got a stream starting soon, so I'm going to make sure everyone gets word of that one. I think it starts at 3. But there was I made a video for my Tottenham walks. I did it on Saturday morning, and I was going to post it this morning, but because of everything that's come out since, I didn't bother. But I still think it's pertinent. So there is this massive issue that I think, this overhanging cloud that's coming during the summer. Right. And it's a load of chicken and the eggs and catch-22s that exist around decision making. Harry Kane's contract, his future needs to be sorted out. And allegedly it won't be discussed until the end of the season. Antonio Conte, presuming he is still going to be here until the end of the season, has also said that his contract, before what's happened today, is not going to be sorted out until the end of the season. You also have 8 returning loanees, right, that have to have their futures sorted out. All of that stuff needs to happen before you can get into kind of plugging any holes that you really want in transfers coming in. And all of that needs to be handled in some part by a director of football, Fabio Paratici, whose own future could be completely cut off at any particular point, any time now, any day. It might not happen at all, or it might happen today. It might happen tomorrow. It might happen July the 1st, or it might not happen until next year. Or like I say, it might not happen at all. But there's all these kind of the sword of Damocles hanging over every single part of that's head. And for me, one thing can't be resolved without the other. Harry Kane might say, I'm willing to stay at Tottenham, but I want to know who I'll be playing under. Who's the manager I'll be playing under? Antonio Conte may have said, I'm willing to stay at Tottenham, but it depends on whether Harry Kane's future is going to be here or not. Any of those things may or may not happen before the end of the season. Those 8 players, if Conte turns around and says, I'm not staying, I don't want to go, or if he gets fired as a consequence of this, then there's going to have to be a conversation for the next manager if any of those 8 players are actually surplus to requirements or might actually fit under a new system. People like Serge Reguilon are good players that didn't get on with Antonio Conte, but might be a better fit than Ryan Sessegnon for a Pochettino system or for anybody else. So my question to you is, to Elias, is because of the summer, because of the consequences of all of these conversations not happening until the season's over, bearing in mind also the season doesn't end until May the 28th. So it's a really late season finishing. And then you've got players that will go away on holiday, or the manager will go away on holiday. Is what happened yesterday maybe a blessing in disguise in that it forces the issue with Conte in the next 2 weeks? And that then can force the expedition of figuring out what happens with our manager before the end of the season, which then will give us some clarity on Harry Kane's future when the end of the season happens. And then because we'll have a new manager in, the question marks over the 8 loanees, if any of them should be used by the new manager, will be known before the end of the season, so that in the summer, Paratici, if he is available to do his job, can focus on the shit that he needs to focus on, which is buying new players, not having to worry about all these other things that could be sorted out quicker because of what happened yesterday. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a long fucking question.
Yeah,
but
it's a long question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
Surprise, Sean. Surprise. Actually, it got better. That was less than 2 minutes, that question, Sean. But still, nobody knows what the question was.
Is it a blessing in disguise, maybe, that we're going to sort out the Conte future
is this
now?
Antonio Conte interview a blessing in disguise? That's the question, right? Basically.
Amen.
Okay, in a way, I think Conte has said the truth. Like, to a great extent, what he has pointed out is truth. Like, whatever is happening in the club, whatever you just described, the situation with the loans, the director of football, the players who are out on loan, the owners, whatever's going on is all a mess, really. I think we all can agree on that whatever's happening in the club, whether it's with the management, whether it's with the football director, whether it's with the loans, is all a mess. So for Conte to come out and point it out to the public and to really acknowledge that yes, it is going on, and it has been happening over the last 22 years. It is not just a blessing in disguise. I would say is an outright blessing that now there is somebody who's willing to come out and point out to you what's the truth, what's happening within your club. And now if you consider the situation with whether he will stay, whether he will go out and all that, I think there's a massive 50% chance. It really depends on what the situation is, what discussions would take place between Conte and Levy in the next few days. It really depends on that, because currently he is still giving Levy what he wants. Daniel Levy, most of us know that he is quite focused on the top 4. To him, the Champions League spots really matter. He hardly sacks a manager when they are in a good position to get the top 4 spots. Although in Conte's situation, it's a little tricky that he's now he's only left in like now 2 months of his contract, so he doesn't have to pay him that much if you were to sack him. But still, he is giving him what he needs. On the other hand, I think that the fact that Conte has only now come out to say that, it makes sense to me, because when you have the managerial contract and all that, you have those clauses like defamation clause, the PR clause and all that. So you need to honor that as well. But now he only got like 2 months left. So if he doesn't honor that, I mean, a fine of like maybe a month or a week for pay cut, I don't think it really matters. If he were to get sacked in that, using that as an excuse, I think it doesn't really matter. I think in last 2 months, if Conte is taking that risk, he is highlighting the truth now. So if he is highlighting the truth now, why jump on him? My question to most of the people who are saying that, okay, he shouldn't have given an interview, the fact that he actually highlighted the reality about the players, about the club, is not the right time. Why he couldn't have done it earlier? He cannot do it earlier. Nowadays, in any company, in any contracts, all these clauses are in there that bind you, that you cannot give such interviews so openly. So the fact that he has come out now and the situation is quite clear, I think it makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. Okay, nice one, Mia. I'll bring you back in because again, when you don't have your face on the screen, it's it's always difficult to know if you're there or if you've disappeared. Like you're still there. What are your thoughts? Do you think that Conte's future could be sorted out, and that actually can be a catalyst for everything else to be sorted out quicker than just the end of the season?
I think it's a bit of a Mexican standoff. I don't think that Conte is going to walk away, and I don't think that Levy is going to sack him. I do think that there's going to be a bit of a Mexican standoff with it, and I don't think nothing's going to be resolved, if I'm completely honest. honest. But Alistair Gold did come out and say that Harry Kane's future is not tied into Conte. So I don't think that makes a difference to Harry Kane. I think that the plan of the future, like what they plan, makes a difference to Harry Kane. So I think that's where the difference is. But I don't think it's going to be solved until the summer. I really don't. I think it's all just a massive big cauldron of mess, basically. It's just like too many cooks spoil the broth, innit? So that's what it feels like. There's too many cooks because there's too much stuff that's going on. It's called like a combustion. And that's what's going to happen in the summer. It's all just going to have to combust at some point. It's going to get to that boiling point. But I don't think it's going to be resolved until the summer, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
If what Sava said before is true, that he had come out and said that it was the players he was talking to and not the board, then I don't think either that is going to result in him getting sacked or him walking. Because if he walks, I don't think he's allowed to say anything.
So there's rumours around. So because a lot of people in the comments earlier were saying, like, why not just sack him now? He's only got 8 weeks left on his contract, and that's going to cost like £2 million or whatever. So it's not a big deal. But I actually, from what I've heard, that there's a clause in the contract that whilst there's an option for them to extend by 1 year, if he is sacked within the 18-month contract, then they automatically trigger the clause and then have to pay him out on the additional year. So if they were to, I don't know if that's true, I've just heard rumors, but if that is the kind of hesitation, and maybe that's also the catalyst a little bit for him speaking out, is that he wants to get laid off, and he wants not just the £2 million that he's owed until the end of the season, but the 15 million for next season.
I think it's more about pride, Sean. He's not going to sit here or stand on the sideline and look at those players not performing for the fans. And he specifically said in the interview that he didn't think that it was fair to the fans that they have to watch this shit on the pitch. Yeah. And he also said that himself get a lot of money for this, and also the players get a lot of.
Yeah, he did say that. And I actually woke up this morning. Like I saw it last night. I was furious. I put my tweet out, but I saw the clips that were on Twitter that cut that quote off before he then went on to say, the blame is always aimed at the club or the manager, never the players. And so I think there was a lot of like tactical usage. I know that Mari disagreed. He thinks that you can read it into however you want to read it. I think that he wasn't calling out the club. I think he was calling out the players. But I still don't think you can do that. Why do it in public? It doesn't, like, you can do it in the dressing room. You've just come out of the dressing room. Tell them you're fucking useless. What is wrong with you? You then come out like when Arteta failed last season.
But Sean, it clearly seems like that these motivation speeches don't work unless he do it at halftime, and then they're coming out in the second half and perform. But it doesn't really does anything long to him. So maybe he's just fed up with only talking to them about it in private, and he just had to come out with it now.
Well, the last I agree with you. The last thing I'd say is that if you I've read the book on, where is it? It's around here somewhere, on the laws of human nature. Right, I've got it somewhere, but cover to cover, it's a fascinating book. But one of the things that's takeaway from it is that if you do criticize, if you're a manager that criticizes your team, whether you're in an organization or football club, whatever, you can get an instant result, but it doesn't work forever. People don't like to be criticized all the time. And when Arsenal failed last season, when they were the bottle jobs last season, Arteta put a ring fence. Him and Edu put like a ring fence around the players and didn't criticize the players. He took the responsibility. Him and Edu shouldered the blame. And then look what happened this season. They're playing for him. Conte doesn't seem to do that. He's more willing to say, actually, these players are fucking shit shows. They haven't got the mental capacity for it. And I don't think that works out. Oren, I'm going to...
He only just did that, Sean. I think that he has told them in private for a very long time.
Yeah.
And they just don't...
to do with his ego.
He's just fed up now about it, because he's going to get the blame for the players that are not performing. I'm not saying that he has no blame at all, but in my opinion, it's like 85 players, 15.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a fair enough take. Mia, you're saying it's about the ego.
Yeah, it's almost like that's his ego speaking, isn't it? He doesn't want to accept that sometimes he is responsible. So, because when you point your finger, there's 4 fingers pointing back at you. So don't forget that. Like, I feel like that he isn't actually taking some of that. If he put his hands up and actually said, "Listen, some of it was me," if he said that,
I see. I get it. I get it now. I get it.
Then
I
I would have been so. Yeah, if you
Maybe you
point, when you're
point the
pointing,
finger that way.
yes, Sean.
It's your fault. It's your fault.
But if you think, right, if he would have put his hands up and said, actually, I take some of the blame, I think the fans wouldn't be as upset. But I think his ego gets in the way because he's big manager. It's like, oh, you're just little Tottenham. Look what he said about AC Milan and about us. He's like, oh, you're just little Tottenham. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah, that
man.
pissed me off as well.
Like,
yeah,
I don't think that was very nice towards the club. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I agree, Mia, and also the fact that in his outburst yesterday, he was also saying they do this, they do that. He doesn't have inclusive language when he's criticizing because he doesn't want to keep himself involved in it. Orin, I want to come to you, mate. Welcome to the show, dude. Do you mind? Can you close the curtain behind you because your face is it's difficult to see you see your face.
There you go.
Sorry, there you go, mate. Oh, hang on, sorry, I lied. Sorry, mate. What's that? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I just want to highlight one thing. Actually, Arteta last season, he didn't protect his players. If you realize, he got to sack and criticize two players openly, like what you were pointing out. He got to sack Aubameyang. He got rid of him. He even criticized Nicola Pepe. And there were some other names as well. He was criticizing the players throughout the season. So it's not true that Arteta didn't criticize his players. He was protecting the players. He was taking all the blame
throughout the season. But after the bottle job, he didn't come out and say the players let themselves
after the
down.
bottle job. They didn't make any mistakes. They had a good preseason. They were performing well. So why need to criticize?
No, immediately after it happened, when they finished fifth, he didn't come out and say these players have got shit mentality. He came out and said it's my fault, it's our fault, it's me. It's, and so did Eddie do the same thing. So what I'm saying is that in the heat of the moment, when you're angry and emotional about what's happened, he didn't come out and say these fucking players are bottle jobs. He came out and said it's my fault. Wrong tactic.
Because the whole season he was doing that. So you see, the whole season you are criticizing your players, and towards the end, one day, okay, you say, okay, it's my mistake. It makes sense. Where's
But Conte's never done that. When have you ever heard Conte say, do you know what? Probably shouldn't have played him today. Probably should have made subs earlier. Probably should have done this. No, instead it's, they haven't got the mental fight for it. He doesn't even include himself in the language anymore. Like I feel like
he does say that, right? That we didn't play well. I think we all have heard this. We didn't play well. We could have done better. We had the momentum with us. He has always taken that responsibility as we now today he comes.
But where's I? But what about I?
Yeah, where's the I? Where's the I?
He doesn't say I made a mistake. He says we. Instead of saying I.
Because
where's the I in this situation? Because if I make mistakes, right, I make mistakes all the time.
Football is a team where you play with 11 players.
Listen, I've got two children. Can I?
Yeah, go on, Mia.
Let me just. Right, listen, if I've got two children, right, and the other day I did something wrong, and I said to my boys, listen, boys, I was wrong, I put my hands up. As somebody who's a parent, and I understand that I've got to teach my children that when we're wrong, we have to put our hands up and say, actually, that was me, that wasn't you, it was my problem, and I shouldn't have done that. That's what Conte lacks in, humility to do that, to actually say, yes, I have made a mistake. But he doesn't do that, and that is the problem. That is a problem.
Problem is, Mia, when you put your hand up, you're actually pointing one finger at God and four fingers back at yourself. And so
Sean, I need to drop off.
I don't believe there's a God, so
I'm gonna leave you with this to think about. There's no I in team, but there is a U in a four-letter word that sounds like hunt. Hope you all have a wonderful Sunday.
Oh, no, you just ruined it. You just ruined my monetization. Gone. Thanks, fucking Barry.
Hunt.
Just dropping a
hunt.
Okay, now you're doing it again. Cheers,
and I could mean something else.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Thanks,
anyway,
mate. Love you.
Have a lovely rest of the day, everyone. Don't get upset.
Mate.
It's only Tottenham Hotspur. There you go.
Cheers, mate. Love you, buddy.
Yes,
Orin, I'm going to take this opportunity to bring you in. Before I do, let me just double check I haven't missed any super chats. Because I don't think I have. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. No, don't think I have. Also, guys, there's still 150 of you in the house. If you don't mind smashing the like button for me and hit the subscribe button if you can, do the usual bits and pieces, help the channel out. Welcome to the show, Orin, and welcome to the show, Haz.
You got a few nonsense people in the chats. Can somebody give them warnings? They are criticizing the the people on the channel and also with the chats. Like, please, guys.
I'll keep an eye on it. But guys in the comments, just everyone be respectful, please. Always be respectful in here. You know, this channel is supposed to be a nice place. It's supposed to be a nice, fun environment. Orin, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Orin, this is where you've been waiting 10 minutes. Go wherever you want to go with it.
What were you guys talking about?
Something to do with Chelsea or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, obviously,
yeah.
Everyone's talking about the rant. And listening to it, I was like, here we go again. Here we go. Because, like, Conte never takes responsibility. Never once takes responsibility. The players can't fight. And what he was saying about they're selfish and all this, I was like, yeah, you're talking about yourself. Like, what has he done to, like, say this narrative? Like you were saying earlier that he's come in with this mentality that he's bigger than Spurs, that Spurs were 10th, right?
Yeah, I think
and what has happened is he's been given that leeway because a lot of fans will agree with him, and those same fans think that he is bigger than the club and they all support him. So if you go on Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media, majority are there's split division, right?
It's more successful than
everything he says is factual and great. Everything he says is absolutely spot on. But I'm looking at it and going, right, what has he done? Has he changed systems? Is he playing players out of position? Is Sung a natural number 10? Is Coolio number 10? Spurs have bent over backwards. They've bought every player that he's wanted. They've tried to bring players in that he's wanted. Right, so here's that's the thing.
Hang on, mate.
Let me finish. This is at the guys. These is at the guys at Hans and all the Conte fans. He's coming in, and what has he said? Get rid of Deadwood, Dele Alli, Dembele, Lo Celso. What does Spurs do? Get rid of them, right? Who does he want in? Perro. Is Perro not a Conte player? Even Perisic, is he not a Conte player? Bentancur and Kulusevski were both signed. When they were signed, they came, performed. They were Conte players. Richarlison, he was bought. Iva Bissama, he was bought to give him extra cover in the middle. What did Conte do with him? Took the player that we all knew was a box-to-box midfielder, made him a defender. Centre backs. Spurs didn't get a centre back. We need to back and get a centre back. Spurs went for Bastoni. Bastoni turned the club down. He went, no, I'm happy in Italy with my family. I've just had a newborn baby. Conte went, okay. So they got Longley in as a loan, as not a permanent signature. It's not that they bought Longley in and went, he's the future. They went, he's a loan until we can get players. Get Conte players in. Conte hasn't signed a contract. If Conte was committed to Spurs in January, he'd have went, right, I'm going to sign a 3-year contract extension or I want to be extended. What did he do? Where was he in January? He did what he did. Spurs were out of all the cups. What did Conte say last week? Finishing top 4 is like winning the Premiership. Is that what Spurs fans want to hear from a manager who's meant to be a serial winner? Conte's got away with so much being at Spurs, all because he came into the club knowing that I don't have to take responsibility. I can just blame the board because I know that there's enough fans who will clap and say, Conte's right, he's our hero. But you see, when Conte slabbers about the club and the history and the players, he's taking the piss out of all the fans as well. Because the fans are the ones paying for tickets. The fans are the ones watching the team. And what can you say this season, right? I'll answer this. When can you say this season? How many games can you say you've watched Conte take charge of Spurs and you've been blown away by the football? Or has the football been boring? A serial winner is demanding that he has patience. Isn't that what he said? Give him patience, give him time, which means give him more money, give him more players. So he's
how much more money do we need to spend though? 500. We spent what is it?
Oh, as many as you want.
500 million.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because if Spurs spent 600 million, hypothetically, of course you're not going to do that. Brought every single player, and you see if they're finishing 5th or 4th, and they're not, doing what we expect them to do. We all know it's not Conte's fault. It's going to be Levy's fault.
It wasn't backed. Yeah.
Can I just interrupt at one point?
So it's always Conte has come in and he knows what he's doing and he blames the board, blames the players because he knows that the fans who support him will jump on that bandwagon and he doesn't take responsibility. One more thing,
Orin, I'll let you finish your point, but just so you know, I think the balance of Levy in, Conte out, kind of thing, whatever, Conte in, Conte out, Levy in, has shifted dramatically on this panel. So I think you're going to get absolutely lambasted from everybody.
Of course, because I know this. It's not just this.
Right. It's fine. It's all
like,
opinions.
it's easy for fans to go right. All these fans don't like Levy and don't like Yannick. Why? Because they haven't won the FA Cup and they sacked Jose Mourinho when he was going to lead the League Cup. Well, sorry, winning the League Cup is nothing. FA Cup.
I've been Levy out since 2012.
It's a fucking trophy that we have waited for 22 years.
Listen.
You
It's
saying
personal.
that League Cup
He's not there. He doesn't manage a team.
He does manage the team because he buys all the fucking players.
He brings in a manager, pays him 15 million to manage a job. If you're an owner of a business and you hire someone to do your job and they're not doing it, and I come in, do I have a go at you? Who do you sack? You sack the manager.
Yeah, and the building is falling apart.
No. Conte is paid.
Listen, mate.
Conte is paid.
Hang on.
Let me finish. Let me finish his point. This is all the Indicate fans. They're so quick to start shouting the same narrative against anybody who comes up and goes against what they think. But look at the bigger picture. Why are you all upset? You think that Spurs
Let me retort.
How many matches do we have?
I know why he's upset.
Wait, guys, just let him finish his point. Let him finish his point.
I know why he's all upset. You're all upset. I know why you're all upset. You're all upset because you put in a narrative.
Don't tell me why I'm upset. I'll tell you why I'm upset.
Okay. You know what? Okay. You tell me why. Give me something brand new why you're upset that no other Enoch or Levy fans have said. Tell me. Go ahead.
Close it for 1 second, all right? I'll tell you, okay?
Okay,
go tell me.
Come on, guys. Be respectful.
Yeah. Listen up now.
Go ahead.
Basically, your premise is Potts basically didn't do his job because he delivered the same results with this squad. Mourinho didn't do his job because he delivered the same result with his squad. Hey, let me finish.
Okay,
now,
let me finish your point.
Didn't do his job because I bet you $1 million that you were Mourinho out as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you've been Potts out at the time. This is exactly the mentality that's always going to favor. It's a mix, and Conte brought it out yesterday. It's a mix of Levy's gentrification of Tottenham. He's got players that's willing to look like they compete and take part in the charade that is the top level manager coming in, and we look like a club. Levy only owns this club for the reason that he can get permits to gentrify Tottenham. It's a front for the gentrification. All right, that's fine. If Levy had if Levy was a little bit more of a clever businessman, he would actually put a little bit more into it to relieve this pressure that he has now on him. I don't care. Levy can gentrify whatever. I mean, it's a shame for the neighborhood.
But how much more money?
Listen, let me finish this. Levy now has repeated. I actually yesterday because I trust Conte has been known as many things, but he's never been known as a dishonest, lying man. I will criticize Conte a lot for what? For taking the money, because Conte knew that it could never really work from the start. Conte, and this is from the Athletic. Conte at the time when he came back and signed the contract, he actually just lost over 20 million pounds in a financial scam. So Conte actually was in financial.
He's getting that money back. That money's come back.
Yeah, well, that he didn't know it at the time, Sean. So that's maybe the number one thing. So Conte, absolutely, I blame Conte in the regard that he bended his principle you could even say break, but at least he bended his own principles and his own brand. Then when he's now working with the club, he has been very un-Conte-like and actually being more reasonable than Conte usually is with these kind of players, with these kind of results. And that's what he said yesterday. He said, "I've been playing along. I can't play along anymore. I'm done with this. I need to."
What is he earning £15 million for, Jory?
But that's his job.
That's his job.
I blame
he's the manager.
No, not for him taking the money, but what is he getting paid for? What's he getting paid?
I'll tell you that, Sean. I'm glad you asked me. I'll tell you what he's getting. He's getting paid to take part in a charade that looks like we're competing as a top club.
Come on, you're spinning. That's
unique and
that's just mad spin, Joey. That's mad spin.
I agree with Laurie.
Serious question.
He's getting paid to shut up, pretty much.
Listen, let me
How can
finish.
he get paid to shut up? He's a
He is getting paid to shut up. Because every manager,
are you kidding me? So basically,
every manager that comes before him has done
Let me finish this point I made. I made an outrageous claim here. Let me finish it. It's cheaper to bring in a Mourinho on very high salary, a Conte on very high salary, than doing an actual real job of building
what is his
real
job?
competing team.
Forget about all that crap. Wait. Hang on. One at a time. I've got to ask this. When I'm asking what he's getting paid for, I'm not asking for a spin doctor story. I'm not asking for what's your opinion on the kind of the ultimate agenda, and I'm saying what is his job as a manager? What does he do? What is he getting paid? £15 million a year to do?
What's a manager's job in general?
What's the manager's job? Yeah, what is it? In general.
A manager's job in general has got to be to have a philosophy and a kind of tactical plan for seasons that he predicts himself to be in, to get results, to win, to compete.
Okay.
So
is it just to pick a formation on a team sheet and put some tactics out there?
No. I mean, that it depends on whether you're talking manager or coach, and it depends on the personalities. In Conte's case, I would say Conte's job, if we had any sense in this club, we would take everything that Conte would be willing to give us. And I do think that's one of the things that Conte has been actually intrigued about and wants to fight for this club, because I do believe, I ask you guys, when have you ever seen a player be this upset about a result, or a board member or anybody else in the club?
But he's upset with other people. My point is, where's his self-awareness?
He both called himself out after the Burnley game, and also now he's very clear. He's not trying to diminish the Conte brand. He's not trying to diminish the Conte brand. But he's clear about saying, this job that I have here, I might not actually be able to do. He actually said, I'm not able to do this job. I'm not able to get, like you guys have been talking about, I'm not able to motivate these players.
But that's his job, right? That's what he's getting paid for.
No one can fucking motivate these players.
Listen, I'm finished now. He freaking motivated the shit out of Juventus, the shit out of Chelsea, everywhere he's gone. And hold on, so has Mourinho. And you maybe Potts has an issue there. I don't think so. I completely 100% believe that it's the culture, it's the players, and this culture there's another team that's quite like the Spurs team, and that's the English national team. This is a very English phenomenon.
Is that Daniel Levy's fault as well?
Is that Daniel Levy's fault that England haven't won World Cup? It's a damn.
Jory, you're spot on about that. I agree.
It must be Levy's fault.
And you see the main apologies for the players and Levy and Sean, they are all English.
Hang on, mate. Go on, Mia. Sorry. Yes, love. Go on.
Yeah, I've got to go. But what I will say as my last thing is, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I've got to go. But my last thing is, I'm going to say quickly, I can't believe I'm going to agree with Sava. I'm going to say that the slice of the pie of blame needs to be to everybody, to the board, to the players, and to a manager. I can't believe I'm agreeing with him, because me and him hardly ever agree on stuff. But I actually think we do more than we think. But yeah, I do agree with him on that. So that's
Mia. He took that slice of pie thing from me.
Pie as is.
Yeah, and I'm sick of hearing it on, because it's a stupid thing to say. I'm sorry.
What do you mean it's a stupid thing to say? There's a pie of blame to go around. Everyone gets a slice.
Did you write it? Did you copy it?
It shouldn't be the same size because there's always.
No, I didn't say that. I never said that. I said everyone gets a slice. Some people deserve a bigger slice than others, but everyone gets a slice.
You have said, Sean, a lot of times that everybody needs
No,
to take the same amount of accountability.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I've never said that.
And that means that the pie slice is the same all.
No, I didn't. I said everyone gets a slice. Some people get a different size slice than others, but everyone gets a slice. Whereas, because I have a frustration with people that play the unipolar game. Mia, I'll let you go. I know you want to jump off. Thank you so much for coming on. What's happening on your channel? I know I think you're a bit delayed as well on the stream, but what's happening on your channel?
Anyway, Sean, take care.
All right. Thanks, Mia. See you soon, mate. Cheers.
I agree with Mia there. Conte deserves blame as well, but Conte, in my book, deserves blame for bending his own principles. He's done something with Tottenham that he's never done before. That's what I believe in.
Taking on a challenge, you mean? Taking on a team that doesn't just pay for.
No, let the paycheck correct. No, Sean, he's let the paycheck corrupt him in the sense that he's been tolerating stuff that he wouldn't tolerate before. He would have called out the club and the players a long time ago if it wasn't for his personal situation.
What exactly? Where have the club failed? Where have the club failed Conte?
Well, I mean, we know now. We didn't know this.
We spent the third highest amount of money.
We know
that these are not.
Can I add something? Because I'm going to go. I just want to have one little say, and I'm going to go because I haven't had a say yet. Right? Just quickly, I think what fans keep forgetting about this Conte situation is what happened. What happened last season when he motivated the players to finish top four when we were 10th, 8th in the league when he came in, or 7th in the league, right? So are we going to forget? Are we all going to forget that he was able to motivate Eric Dyer and Ben Davis to a level that hold on, Sean, let me just say my point because I'm going to go. Right?
Sorry.
That every single fan was saying, "Oh, look, he's improved Ben Davis, he's improved Eric Dyer." So many people were saying that, right? But now, because we're playing even worse than we're playing last season, which Conte actually told the fans in the interview last night, right? Everyone wants to jump on Conte's back because he's calling out what is actually happening at the club, right? I get what people were saying about Antonio Conte, and yeah, he has to take blame for some of the decisions he's made during matches, right? You got to be a fucking idiot if you cannot see that Conte's got partly to blame for what's happened with some of the performances, right? 100%, 1,000,000%, right? But the underlying problem is that Conte, I believe, is doing what he's doing for a reason. Because why should a manager, right, bring in a player like, say, for example, Jed Spence or other players, right, to say, oh, do you know what, right? We're going to buy you these players because we got good opportunities on them. We've got good deals on them. Are you okay with them? Yeah, I'm all right, but it's not who I want, but I'll try it, right? The reason why Conte is acting out the way he is because he's fed up of the way everything is run at this club. And the biggest issue at this club is the culture. And I'll tell you why it's the culture, right? It's the culture because when you've got players like Richarlison coming out saying, oh, the man after that game where he came out that game, right? And he started moaning that he wasn't playing or something like this, right? Yeah. And then basically he then gets picked the next game, right? He gets picked the next game to start. Right, and then where's all the moaning gone now? What I'm saying is, players at this club are never held accountable, right? When they're the ones who many times have come out and put managers thrown them under the bus because they either don't like the manager, they either get fed up of the tactics, they just get bored of the training, whatever it is. It's always the same shit. And I'm talking about every single fucking player in this club. Harry Kane, Son, everyone, every single one of them are all accountable, right? Everyone.
I'll tell you what it is, Danny. Right? Sorry. And what it is once it gets difficult, they shut up shop. That's the common denominator.
Exactly what Conte said, right? Yeah. And what I'm fucking furious about the fan base and what they've kind of said about these Conte talks is that the fact of the matter is that the fans cannot take what Conte is saying because it is all truth. Not one person can deny what he said is a lie. Everything he said is true.
Yeah, no, right? Of course, everything what he said is true. And also, he also didn't say a lot of stuff. Hang on, Danny, let me retort. It's not just about what he said; it's also what he didn't say, i.e., where he's responsible. But the point you just made,
he did say it though. He did say it. He said the manager's responsible as well. He said the manager, the staff, and the club. He talks about
they. He talks about they, not we.
He said the manager,
the staff, and let me say this. Wait. Just wait. Let me get my point out, guys. Shut up. I love you all. Danny, what you just said a minute ago was, you said, oh, last season he managed to get the best out of the players, right? And everyone was happy.
Yep.
This season he can't. So is it him who got the best out of the players last season and hasn't this season, or is it last season he wasn't responsible for it either, and the players just raised their game? So it's either him or it's not him. It's one or the other. You can't say when we succeed, Conte's a genius, and when we fail, the players.
Literally, I want to reply to this, Sean. Right. What he did last season was he came into a club which was shot of confidence. Right. They were in an absolute state under Nuno. Right. Harry Kane we wanted out the club. Right, he comes in, he rejuvenates the belief within the players, right, to achieve a certain goal. And what we did was overachieved, right? No one expected to finish in the top 4. None of us did, right? None of us. What happened was when now we got to start a new season, right? I wanna take what you kind of were saying, Sean, about how you said Conte was happy at the transfer window. Okay, let's take that for face value. If Conte is happy for that transfer window,
that's
right?
What he said. That's what he said.
Right?
Right?
Okay, let's take that for face value. Okay, right. If he is happy, wouldn't you say though he's happy because he believed that those players could do exactly what they did at the end of the season last season, right? And maintain that level of performance and belief, right, in the way they're playing his style in football and his tactics, right?
Yeah.
And he's thinking, do you know what? I can actually do this with these players, right?
Yeah, of course I can. Exactly.
Now,
so what happened this season?
Because Sean, the problem is that fans keep forgetting it's the same players, right? The majority of
players did it last season, and people gave Conte the credit.
Problem is those players cannot hold that level of consistency because they're not good enough.
They did it for the entire season last season.
Half season, Sean.
We got it done last season. We got it done last season.
Manager bounce. It's called a new manager bounce.
A new manager bounce does not last an entire season. Has
for 4 months it does.
Came in November, Sean.
Okay, 6 months. 6 months.
Well, look, it happened under Harry.
By the way, you know we're still fourth, right? That's what Daniel Levy wants. We're still fourth.
One at a time. Orange laughing. I'll let Orange rebuttal, and then I'll come, and then we'll go around the table from there. Go on, Orange.
Yeah, it's just like when the way I work it out is like when Spurs are playing great, it's all Conte. When they're not, it's everyone else. And last season,
that's really.
I say it, and I
never said that. I never said that. So you can't say that's my opinion.
I said it. I said it.
Guys, stop. Guys, come on. Guys, the audience can't hear from where we're talking.
DK, right? DK, you said no one thought Spurs were going to get fourth. If you ever watch my stream, I believe Spurs would get fourth, even without Conte. Conte came in and he said, he starts slating the club. Came in, the club needs to do this. They've made the wrong signings. Morecambe game, especially after Ndombele, the club has signed the wrong players and do this. We need to do this. So I believe, this is just my perspective, what Conte's done is belittle the club. So then when he gets them fourth, it's like, oh my God, he's amazing. Spurs are a club that could always get fourth. This season, the expectations was, okay, Spurs got all the signings in before, and I remember the tweet when that wee famous video came out of the players throwing up on the sidelines. Fans were like, yeah, Conte's amazing. He's putting the players through their paces. Yeah, they're going to be fit. They're going to hit the ground running. Within the first 2 months of the season, Spurs are playing boring football, lucky to win. So it wasn't like Spurs were playing amazing football at the start of the season. How hyped were all the fans when we were talking about Song, Kane, and then Kulusevski? Then Richarlison was brought in. Not one fan went, oh, he's a rubbish player. They were like, oh my word, Spurs are finally backing Conte. They're finally getting players in for him. Eva Bissama, he's brilliant. We saw what he did at Brighton. He's going to come in. Spurs are playing rubbish football from the start of the season. Then we put it down to, it's the World Cup. Maybe it's that. Sung Heung-min isn't playing well because of the World Cup. Then after the World Cup, we're expecting, okay, World Cup's done, players are back. Still the same thing. Then Conte goes off and sick. Yeah, I understand that. Then he starts talking about how his friends have died and it becomes a pity party. If Spurs were playing 6 months of amazing football, sitting second in all the cups, and yes, games against Southampton they were drawn. Say Spurs needed to win that game to go top, and they didn't. Then yeah, Conte can rip the board apart, can rip the mentality of the players apart. But
why would he do that if they're playing amazing football?
Jeff Spence was bought. A young English
Why would
right
he
wing
do
back.
that if we're playing amazing?
Jeff Spence was bought. Jeff Spence was bought. A young English right wing back that when he was bought and then when all the transfer, all the fans were going, "That's the player." Yes, he's young.
What are you
He's
talking about?
excited.
What are you talking about?
Fans were
there were tons of us saying Jed Spence is a Levy signing. Everyone knows Levy's perfect.
He was young. He only became a Levy. He was only became a Levy sign when.
No. Everyone personally knows Levy went to do a deal.
Fans who follow Conte believe everything he says, and they'll back him up.
Nothing to do with Conte.
It was I know.
This has nothing to do with Conte.
No, I'm not saying it was.
Levy
I'm not
personally
saying
said
it was.
still. It's
But
well known.
that doesn't. But you're not getting the point. That's what the
you're not
Conte
either.
fans like you don't understand.
Let
Every
me finish.
Point. Every single club in the Premiership buys players for that club. Do you think Pep Guardiola 2 summers ago went to Man City? I want Jack Grealish at 100 million. If you don't get him, I leave. No. Every Premiership club buys players for the club. Conte's not going to be at Tottenham for 20 years. So you have to buy players for the club for the future.
I can promise
for Conte to come out and go, "Oh no, that's not my player. That's a club player." But then he'll turn around and say, "I'm the club."
I promise you.
So when is it? When is it a we? When is it? When is it we? And when is it not my player?
I
That's
can
what I'm
promise
asking.
Can I just say something?
I need to have one. I'll have a quick
go on,
reply.
sorry.
First of all, I can promise you that Pep can veto any transfer and will do if he doesn't like the player.
Yes.
He doesn't have the time to do the work. So of course there's a department doing the work, but he makes that list and he vetoes what he doesn't like. That I can promise.
They've got one of the best directors of football.
That's never going to be like that in Tottenham. Anyway, like I want to touch on a point because you were saying when we win, Conte is a genius, and when we lose, it's Levy out. So I agree with I agree with the fact that that's actually kind of if people are in that mode, that's a bad way of looking at it. It's a irrational way of looking at it. But I can tell you, but if we look at it actually, Spurs, this sport, these players have won fuck all. Conte has won everything. Mourinho has won everything, and that's a man's discussion. Only children and losers use words to prove their point. Men use actions to prove their point.
Right. So what is Conte doing to change the system? So what has Conte done to change the system? What actions has Conte put in place to change his
tactics? Need to change any system.
Can I add a point?
To make that winning system happen for
guys,
him.
we've all got to wrap up in the next 10 minutes anyway.
Can I just rebuttal what Oren was saying, right? Before you
do, DK, 1 second. I think Elias is about to jump off, right?
I've got to join Perchy's stream, so I need to be like a minute, literally.
Okay, go on, go.
I just want to say, Oren, I actually agree. I don't normally agree with you, but some of the stuff you were saying, I actually do agree with what you were saying, right? I do think Conte is doing what he's doing to lower the standards, but so that if he does achieve that top 4, right, it's a lot better than what it is, right, than what the kind of situation is. I agree.
Right? I agree as well with that.
But the thing is, what fans don't understand is we're not a club that has a divine right to be in the top 4, right? And the thing is, he's told the fans so many times, or win a trophy, and he's told the fans to lower the expectations because unless the club, like he said last night, unless the club decide to change the way of how they want to do things, it doesn't matter if we change a manager, right? So then the fans need to decide what do they want, right? Because for me personally, I want to see us compete for trophies. I'm not saying we're going to win trophies, all right? I'm saying I want to see competitiveness. That's all I want to see, right?
Put it all out there to compete for it. Exactly.
Yeah, but the problem is that I don't believe the board want to compete for trophies because of the way they do things, right? And
this season's disaster, Danny, was not caused by a malfunctioning board. We got beaten by Sheffield United.
Sean.
And by my last point, our team was better than
hold on. Let me just finish this last point, right? The reason I say this is because we have never had a plan, right, put in place by the club to say, right, we've got a 5-year plan. We want to try and challenge for a trophy. When have the club ever said, let's go and try and challenge for a trophy, right? We've got a 5-year plan and we're going to try and build towards building a team that's going to try and compete for the FA Cup, at least, right? My problem is that we don't have a plan ever or a strategy. It's always hit and hope, right? We have spent £500 million with 4 different managers who have 4 different philosophies and 4 different systems, right? That is the problem, and that is the reason why we are in the situation we are in. Because if they had followed the plan of what Poch wanted when they hired him, right, and he was there for 5.5 years, right, and he asked for a rebuild, they would have spent half the money they've spent now trying to build a team for 4 different managers, right? That is the biggest problem, and that is why he is saying the club also needs to be held accountable, of including the managers. He said it last night: the manager, the staff, and the players. Everyone is held accountable, and that's what I want to say. But anyway, thank you anyway.
Big up,
See you later, guys.
See you later, mate.
Take it easy, guys.
General deluded. See you, mate.
Captain Ravania.
Guys, we've got 5 minutes left. Sorry, Elias, you want to jump off as well, do you?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to what Danny said. I think I'm all right actually when somebody come out and say that yes, let's be a little bit critical about Conte and what the decisions that he has been making. But the problem that I usually get is why can't we have that same level of criticism towards the board and towards the players at times? And I think that's what Conte.
There's loads of it. There's loads of criticism towards the board.
Not from you, Sean.
Like, what do you mean? I criticize the board all the time. I spend my time defending.
Not in terms of the football impact. That's what we're talking about. I know you criticize around recruitment, and of course that's football. But we're talking about when we see a game go through our fingers because of the back line. Then you're not calling the board out for having such a back.
No, I call out. I said it 30 times on this stream that the defenders are the problem. I've given thumbs up to that. I said at the start of the stream, but maybe before you got on, I said every single Tottenham fan.
I retract that. Then I had a different.
I get parked into this kind of Levy in bucket because I don't spend all day long every day talking about Levy out, and in reality, what I actually spend a lot of my time doing on streams like this or others, or at least last year, I don't do it so much anymore because it's quite repetitive. But I defend against the argument that is presented. I know that I would much rather Daniel Levy in excel on and get somebody else in, providing that we had a better version of an owner, and I don't know who that is. And I ask people, if you don't want Daniel Levy, who do you want? And I don't just mean someone with ambition. Find me a billionaire that's not going to send us backwards. That's going to come in with all the things that you want.
Yeah, and that comes to the fans. That's actually a great question, Sean, because then it comes to the fan. And what I'm okay with, we can go the Qatari way and
that to me makes the most sense. Everything else is not a problem.
Also another way. There's another way, which is Brentford or something like that. I would be happy to support Tottenham as a Moneyball, smaller club, whatever, just as long as we're doing what we need to do to be the best that we can be in our circumstances.
Absent a competitive European market, absent a European market that's not competitive, absent a European Super League, then the Moneyball will become increasingly prominent because you can't waste money and then not spend and not find the market to sell it. If you spend 60 million quid on an Ndombele and you can't offload that shit show to anywhere in Europe,
Brentford would never do that. For example,
Brentford wouldn't do that, right? Yeah, but Brentford will never get to. Brentford will never win a league.
Sean, what I'm saying, we can take any model. I just want us to take some model. And it be all about the football and nothing about the business and gentrification of Tottenham and so on.
It's not going to happen, though, is it?
No, but that's the problem, though. Yeah.
At least it gives priority to the football and to the winning ways. At least then that makes sense. But I think to say that it's all about football, I think that's not going to happen in this club in this age.
Levy just wants to build his version of Disneyland.
I don't mean exclude. I mean whatever we choose to do as a footballing club. We do that only based on footballing premises. So if we want to be a smaller spend club, let's go with the Moneyball model. Let's do a
to have the Moneyball model. You need to have competent scouts, competent directors of football.
And we don't have any of those things. This should then be building for that.
And I 1,000,000% agree with that, and I 1,000,000% hold the board account for that. 100% I do.
Yeah,
Elias, you got to go, right? We've all got to go in a minute. I've got my dinners downstairs. So, what's your channel, Elias? I know you've got a new channel, haven't you, mate?
Yep, I just started my channel like last month.
What's it called?
It's called Step Up Spurs. I'm now at 132, aiming for 200 soon. Yeah. So if you all have a link for you, go to Step Up Spurs and hit there, subscribe, and yeah, I'll be doing a show later tonight at about 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. GMT. Quite late because it's my morning tomorrow. Yeah. So if you
everybody get over to Step Up Spurs. Love supporting all channels basically, but especially ones that are getting going. The link is in the description. If there's 150 of us, just if everyone got over there, he'd immediately double his numbers. So good man. Before I go any further, you got a jumper, Elias, have you? Thanks, mate. Appreciate you coming on. See you soon, buddy. Super chat from Danny, who was literally just here. You could have asked this question a second ago. Appreciate it. Sean sent a WhatsApp. I want the panel to discuss Glenn Hoddle's interview last night after the game. I agree with him. After all, he's one of Spurs' GOATs. I haven't really got time, Danny. I promise you we could do it on the next one, man. I've got to jump, mate. It's we've been on the stream for 2 hours, but I do appreciate that. I'll send you your $5 back, mate. Okay, how about that? I'll give you, send me your Cash App, and I'll send you a $5 back. appreciate the super chat. Is there anything else anyone wants to discuss? Or is probably I'll go on, Has, mate. Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Yeah. So, like for me, it doesn't matter what manager we have until we change the players. Nothing's going to change. And unfortunately, the players, half of them are purchased by Levy and non-footballing people. So until that changes, until the way the club is run from top to bottom changes, it doesn't matter what manager we have. Like I'm at the point now, I don't care who comes in next because I know they're not going to get backed. They're not going to get the players they want. So what's the point in carrying on? We've seen it under Jose, we've seen it under Nuno, we've seen it under Redknapp, we saw it under Joel. Yeah, we did. We saw
where do you want to go back? Or go back all the way back to Huddle. Keep going back. Terry Venables.
Even Glenn Hoddle.
Even Terry Venables. Yeah, I remember Terry Venables.
Even
go back. Even go back farther. Yeah.
I'm talking about Enoch.
It's a same old narrative. What players?
Because
like
does Conte said in 20 years,
20 years without anything, you know.
Yes,
right?
they've won.
In 20 years, we've had 15 managers under 20 years.
12.
There's a common denominator here, and it's Daniel Levy.
But Spurs, it's not like Spurs were sitting first when Enoch took over. We're Spurs sitting first, winning Champions League or winning the Premiership.
We won more cups in half the time than they've been here.
Have you done the research?
Yes, I have. We've won more cups in 10 years compared to 20 years that they've been here.
Spurs won the FA Cup in 1991. The last time they won it was in 1991. Sugar
was a big problem as well.
Yeah, I know it's a problem.
Spurs weren't winning cups every season.
Guys, one at a time!
They weren't. It's just so illogical. Oh, they were winning
logical
cups.
Because 20 years
they weren't winning cups.
That's logical.
They weren't winning cups.
There's one person.
Listen, okay. Let me give you this. Right. This is what I'm saying.
One trophy.
If
how many managers? 15 managers.
Let me say this really quick.
It's not 15 managers, it's 12 managers. First of all, let me just
I don't know how you not see it.
Has 1 second. On that point about hang on, guys.
Delusion. It's obvious.
It is delusional. Right. What you're saying is delusion. Okay, go ahead,
guys. Just on that 1 point, right? About the 15 managers in 25 years, 23 years, whatever. I looked into it. So the average managerial tenure in the Premier League is 750 days, right? That's 24 months and 20 days, give or take, right? So it's 2 years and 1 month. The average managerial tenure at Tottenham, if you actually disclude the three, under Daniel Levy, the three managers that were caretakers, that were never part of the plan, in David Pleat, in Ryan Mason, and in Clive Allen, is 23 years. It's 12, because they're caretaker managers. They were in charge for a month.
That's still the board's business.
No, they're not managers, because the argument you're making.
Managing the players.
They're in after one manager's gone. They're just stepping in for a brief period.
Who fired the manager?
Because the argument that is being presented is that 15 managers and we always fail. We always blame the manager. Hang on, Jory, 1 second.
The board is incompetent. And having 3 caretakers and 12 managers is incompetent.
Let me finish. The average tenure of a deliberate Tottenham manager, someone that was hired by the club to be a deliberate project to go and do it, is 23 months. right? And when you look at the 25 months of the average Premier League tenure, if you look at the 6 people that outlie it, Joe Kinnear, Harry Redknapp at West Ham, David Moyes at Everton, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, and Sir Alex Ferguson during the 21 years he was at Man. You not even take them out, but if you just acknowledge that those six managers were massive outliers, then there is absolutely no difference. Hang on, let me finish my point, mate. There is absolutely no difference between the average managerial tenure at Tottenham than there is at any other Premier League club in the 50 Premier League managers that have been at 50 Premier League clubs that have been in the Premier League and the 270 managers. There is no difference. So this argument that you keep blaming the managers, there's 15 managers. In reality, there's 12.
Let me reply.
I haven't finished the point yet, mate. So I'll let you reply.
Then if you don't win anything, then what is it?
Every single Premier League manager has, on average, lasted about 2 years, including
Your point
Tottenham.
is made, Sean. Listen, you're constructing this massive straw man that's giving you're giving yourself endless false premises for your argument. Listen,
You're saying the argument is
it doesn't matter whether they're chosen or they fall into it. They're managing the squad.
You're saying blame the chairman because of the number of managers we've had.
Yeah, because they've not been successful, have they? It's been 50 different managers.
Neither has 92% of all Premier League clubs.
So if the managers, if Spurs go and hire a manager, they want success. If that manager doesn't deliver success,
no, they don't. Conte was signed.
Why do they not? You see, here's the thing: profit before glory. That's the narrative.
Yeah, because we won one trophy in 20 years.
Wouldn't Daniel Levy and Edic make more profit if Spurs were winning trophies?
No,
of course they want to win trophies. They want to win trophies.
There's more risk. There's more risk.
There's not more risk. See, that's just the narrative.
Just look at their business dealing. Their main profit is coming from the real estates.
Guys, we
the
can't
real
hear everyone's
estate is
talking.
the main profit.
Yes,
the
but
reason
as
they're
a
getting
football-
building permissions is because they own Tottenham. That's why they own Tottenham.
Yes, but are they
Because
okay? So basically, yes, understand that. I understand that. But when people go, they'll go at Spurs. The amount of jobs that will provide, everyone doesn't like football. So basically, that's what it's going to bring. There's going to be people who are going to go and watch concerts. It's going to be like Wembley.
It's not a bad thing. Gentrification of Tottenham is not a bad thing.
It's just the way it is.
No, it's
And people that are for the
not.
low-income people that cannot afford to live
What
there
about all the
anymore.
business owners? What about all the small business owners along the high street?
That's it. You're all you all say
You're
you
straw
should
manning.
all be critical of football, but then you're criticizing it. So what would you rather have? To you three, would you rather have Spurs win FA Cups but not get Champions League place, or get Champions League? You'd want that. So that tells me that all you guys want is so you can have your little moment walking and like going, oh my God, they've won a trophy with their little ticker top parade. That's it. That's what you guys want.
I want to be in a club. I want to be in a club that puts everything, whatever that is, puts everything on the line for winning every competition that they're playing.
Right, winning every competition. So the manager isn't getting that. Whose fault is it? If the manager isn't doing that, whose fault is it?
Levy, because he's had 50 different managers and they've all failed.
How can it be Levy?
You think it's a complete fluke that we go out of the cup
It's not
the same way every year?
Why didn't you? Okay, so if Levy and only cared about finishing
one
top
common
4.
person in 23 years is still here. Yeah, we've
there's
had
common
50 different
denominator
people.
bollocks. That's like saying every time we lose, it's raining. Therefore, the weather's to blame. It's bollocks. It's bollocks.
No, it doesn't always rain when we lose. It doesn't always rain when we lose.
Denominator nonsense. It's a nonsense argument.
Sean, does it always rain when we lose?
The
Yes
average.
or no?
I'm saying if it did, I'm making that point. If it did, blame the weather.
It doesn't. So you can't just make a point.
Listen,
the common denominator argument is such nonsense.
It's not.
You love your statistics. I'll give you a statistic.
I love destructing absolute waffle arguments. And when you say the average tenure of a manager in the Premier League is the same time as there's a consequence to being in charge for 23 years that you're going to go through 15 or 12 managers. It's nonsense.
So let's go with that. Let me go with that now. Okay. So now you look into the average length of a tenure of a manager that's winning for one of the top clubs, and you'll come up with a different number. You're giving yourself the whole 20 club league. Is that what we're averaging out as?
Sorry,
no.
say that again.
If we want to be successful, we're talking about 6 clubs or 8 clubs or 10 clubs at the most, not all 20. So that changes the numbers quite a bit. I'll give you another statistic.
No, you're talking about average Premier
look
League club.
into
Now
another-
you're cherry picking data. You're trying to rip away
No, I'm not
data to
cherry
go.
picking.
Oh, hang
I'm
on.
saying-
Sean
No,
just
this is
completely
what he has
disrupted
to
that
say.
narrative.
This is what he has
Now
to
let's
say.
retune
We're not here
it.
arguing about us competing against the Nottingham Forest and the.
There's a reason why. Sir Alex Ferguson was manager for so long. He was successful. Success breeds continuity, breeds longevity. Right? If you're not successful, you change manager. Same with Arsene Wenger. It's a cyclical system. Your argument makes absolutely no sense.
I would take your stat as well, Sean, and I would say, who is just about the only manager in world football that wins in that time frame that you mentioned? I know his last name is Conte.
In 2 years,
That's just about the only guy that does that. All right.
Yeah.
So
if he comes into a team that is near the best squad in the Premier League or in the Italian Serie A,
I'm just saying it in every sense. It doesn't matter. Pep doesn't do it with much.
So
better
if Conte goes to Brighton, does he get the best? Does he get a trophy out of them?
Yeah, Conte's average time is just about around something
if
like.
Conte goes to Brighton or to Brentford, does he get a trophy from them?
Usually he wins before that. I mean, he wins earlier than that. But this is a question of fact, Sean. Usually he wins the second season, and if not the second, it's always the
and
third.
this season was the perfect season for him to put his managerial eliteness at play when we went out to Sheffield United or we went out to Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup.
You know as well as I do. There are plenty of rumors from inside the club. We trust the guys that we at Tottenham TV. I trust them 100%. I know their sources are good. All the signings, apart from basically Perisic, which was a bad signing.
I'm not doing this hearsay bullshit. It's all hearsay.
No, listen,
not having hearsay as an
all of
argument.
the signings. I trust that rather than a rumor. Not saying.
I'm not,
listen,
why don't you trust
we don't know this.
If we're having a debate, if you're having a debate, you don't get to present hearsay as evidence, mate.
What are you doing? I mean, but I agree.
Nothing of the sort.
It's not evidence of anything. It's not evidence of anything. But what I'm saying is you cannot say that he got backed if I cannot say that he didn't get backed.
When did I say
that's what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this, Jerry.
He got backed, which is not.
Let me ask you this, Jerry.
I can't stand the getting back thing. The getting back thing is only a conversation when things don't work out. If Richarlison comes in and bangs 20 goals in this season, if Perisic bangs in 6 goals as a wing back like he should have done, he had the opportunities to do it. If Basuma comes in, hits the ground running, right? Even if Jed Spence comes in, gets a chance and goes on a run, right? The conversation around whether he was backed never happens. It's a consequence of retrospective reaction. You sit there and go, if we're first in the league, you're never asking the question, was he backed?
Exactly.
The question only comes up because we're struggling.
None of these conversations happen if we're the best in the league. And so I don't disagree with that. But I'm saying you cannot say that he got backed if I'm not allowed to say that he didn't get backed.
I hate the conversation. I'm not saying he did. I hate the conversation. For me, going forward, what I'd love everybody in the community to do is to sit there and say, let's look forward. Let's sit there right now and say, whoever the manager is in the summer, what does he need, in your opinion, to succeed next season? Whether it's money spent, whether it's players, whether it's
I was saying, John, is that there's not evidence for that he got backed rather than not got backed.
I don't know where that conversation came from. I made the point about, you said about he always wins in his second year or in his third. Yeah. And I said, and this year there was never a better chance to win given the luck of the draw in the FA Cup and in the Carabao Cup. And yet we got dumped out by Nottingham Forest B team and we got dumped out by Sheffield United B team. And that has to land on the manager as much as anything else.
We don't know anything, but I saw this under Mourinho as well. And I saw this
what
last
he said
year.
was that you're speculating, Sean. And
but Mourinho partly got sacked because he wanted to rest players.
A lot of managers behind this one to say that there's a continuity with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
So a series of managers that failed, blaming somebody else other than themselves for their failure.
No, going out of the FA like we go out, in the FA like we go out.
You know what though? But here's the thing, because you guys keep saying about Jose and Conte. Those are the two links. So basically,
Potts is
Potts too.
Yeah. Okay. So Potts got to the semi-finals of FA Cups. He got to finals of Champions League.
Yes.
Is it Daniel Levy, or is it the Potts didn't have the managerial experience to win those matches?
As you well know,
the game against Chelsea, that famous game against Chelsea. I remember sitting there watching it. Spurs were 2-0 up. 2-0 up at Stamford Bridge. If they had won that game, it would have taken the season to the final wire. What did Poch do? He buckled under the pressure. The manager did that. Daniel Levy didn't call down Poch and went, here, give Chelsea 2 goals because, mate, I don't want to finish second. I want 4th. That's all we care about. That doesn't happen. As for this whole back thing,
that's why Poch had the longest tenure.
Pochettino had, for 3 years, the best Spurs team he can have. Young, hungry players. Kane, Son, Dele Alli, Ericsson, Dembele, Wanyama, Eric Dyer, Toby Alderweireld. You looked at that team, he had. Players were brought in, but Poch didn't play them because they had to be fit for 6 or 7 months before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they went for, like, I remember Poch sitting there. This actually came from Poch. You can Google it, talking about Moretta. He called Moretta up. Come, I want you at Spurs. Spurs were willing to bring him in. Moretta turned around and says, why? You've got Harry Kane there. I don't want to come and sit on the bench while you've got Harry Kane there. Who was going to replace Ericsson? So basically, he wasn't back, though. Okay, fair enough. Then you have
I mean,
Jose.
we did go 18 months without signing a player under Pochettino.
Pierre Hoy,
Jose Mourinho. By the way, once again, right? So someone's, I think, Larfo-Matic, good to see you, mate. He says, clearly you're backing ENIC here. Once again, all right,
okay,
I am not a backer. I'm not a backer. Hang on one second. I am personally not a backer of ENIC. I just love a fiery debate. People that know me know that I love to have a debate. And when you've got 3 people that are like, I personally just, if it was just me and Orin that were on the show and Orin was going deep on how good or defending ENIC more, I'd probably end up taking the job of the other 3 guys. I just like playing the devil's advocate, you know.
Well, your advocacy to Sean always benefits ENIC in a nice way.
No, that's because most of the debate that we have is Levy out, you know. Levy out.
Can I just say something about ENIC? Sorry. And the whole infrastructure gentrification thing. So what people don't realize is buying players is a higher risk than building an infrastructure or hosting a concert.
And that's what Levy
had. That's true. That's true. That is very true.
This is why
the winning formula in football is also
business. Yeah, 100%. And I 100% agree that the ENIC's risk tolerance for running a football club is very low. What I would say, though, is that the stadium doesn't get planning permission absent the commitment to redevelop the Northumberland project.
I see what you're saying there. But in terms of like hosting concerts, buying other real estate, doing other things, off-field things, is less risk than buying players, right?
Well, what's the problem? I for anyone who I'd love to. I've got to go, guys. But for anyone that promotes the argument that having Lady Gaga concerts or Beyonce concerts at Tottenham Hotspur is a problem, like I don't understand what difference it makes whether or not there's something happening in that stadium 365 days a year, as long as it doesn't disrupt Tottenham's football when Tottenham need to play. Or I don't. What's the downside of doing that? It
disrupts the business model. Yeah,
that's the problem.
But I there wouldn't be a problem with healthy ownership. It's the way Levy wants to run it. That's
why is it? See, I know Sean has to go, and but the question is, and because like Sean, I don't take things personal. I like a good debate. But why is ENIC, like, I look at Spurs, and I've been supporting Spurs since I was 9 years old. So that was like 1992, 40 years old now. Spurs, I've seen from a club that was happy to finish 10th with maybe winning an FA Cup, has gone from a top 10 club to a top 6 club that fans were happy that they finished in Europa League. Now they're a club that's seen should be fighting for the title. So how is that not progression? That's why fans are upset. Fans aren't upset because Spurs are.
But we've talked about. I think most Levy out
progress versus success is a different debate.
Most Levy out people, at least the ones I know, they are very clear about it. It's like there was a lot of that needed to be done, and it's been done well. And hats off to Levy. Front of shop is what I call it. Levy has done a great job at the retail side of things, rebranding the club and building the stadium. All of it, plus A+. Fine. We've been for over 6 years, in my view. We've been waiting to take that step to bring in the furniture, as Pot said.
I agree with that as well.
Still not thinking about doing it.
I just want to say something about this whole narrative about they took us from 10th to 4th, whatever. Now, back when ENIC and Levy got us, right, 20 years ago, obviously I was just starting to support Spurs like a lot more because I'm born in '92, so I'm only like 31. But we'll push this narrative, and you need to hear this. You'll push this narrative that we need to finish in the Champions League to buy better players, right? Yeah, to progress, to become title champ, whatever, right? The narrative was we need to finish in the top 4 for this reason, to become a better club, to buy better players, blah blah blah. Yeah. So it took us 10 years or 12 years, whatever it was, till 2010 to finally qualify. Yeah.
Yeah. When
we qualified, apart from Van der Vaart, like one other player, we didn't really buy big players since then. Yeah. And then the 2 seasons after that, we're on the cusp of a title race. Yeah. On the Harry Redknapp in 2012. And that January bought Luis Saha and Ryan Nelson on free transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole narrative that we're going to finish 4th to get the Champions League to.
No, I'll take your point. I'll take your point, but just to counter that quickly, I hear what you're saying.
Absolute lie.
Well, it's not, mate. It's not because the inflation in the price of the product, i.e., the players, has superseded the ability to be able to keep up. So, like 60 million quid on a Richarlison, 60 million quid would have bought you the best player in the world 10 years ago. 60 million quid today buys you a
we're the 9th richest club in the world. Does our squad
and we've lost money the last 3 years.
We are the 9th
and I know what you're saying.
In the world, does our squad reflect that?
Ninth richest how?
In terms of
profit,
evaluation, in terms of
profit,
evaluation,
brand value.
No, not a brand value. Evaluation.
The price, the value of the stadium,
assets and income, and so on.
What's that got to do with anything? We lost money the last 3 years. There's a difference between liquidity
and
asset value versus liquidity is a different thing, mate.
Do you know how much the other clubs lose? Do you know how much Madrid and Barcelona lose?
Barcelona and Madrid are supported by the.
They still keep on. They keep on, my friend.
Here's the thing.
They are supported by the government. Guys, I've got to wrap this up. Guys, I've got to wrap it up.
Sorry. Just want to reply to Hotspur, just very quickly.
Okay.
So
last,
I understand.
Last take, everyone gets one more minute each, and also include any channels you want
to promote. I understand that narrative because when you were born, I would have been what 10, 9, so always 10 years. That narrative never came from Daniel Levy. And here's one thing I want you to do. I'm not going against what you're saying. Everyone has their own opinion, but I want you to try and find. I remember reading an article when Enoch and Levy took over. And there was a big, massive article. I think it was the Sun or either the Daily Mail. And I remember reading exactly what Enoch was going to say. And Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy never said, if Spurs finish top 4, we'll get the players. He never said that. That was a narrative came up by pundits and other fans who thought that. Daniel Levy said his job was to make Spurs, build it from the inside, make the stadium great. That will be the way. And then if we can get that eventually on the pitch. So the way I look at it, I understand the frustration of not winning a trophy, but I can also understand that Spurs are in playing in the Premiership, what has some of the best teams: Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal. Spurs were never winning loads of trophies. They were never fighting for even top 4. I remember Spurs finishing in top 4 when Peter Crouch scored that amazing goal against Man City. Fans were going, "Oh my word, this is amazing! We're in the top Champions League." Then the narrative was Spurs won't get far in the Champions League, so they did. You have to win trophies because a player's not going to turn around and go, yeah, well, you finished top 4 and you won the FA Cup. I'm going to come to you. You have to win trophies, which Spurs hasn't done. And all I'm saying is you cannot blame. If Daniel Levy wasn't the manager of the club, of Spurs, yes, blame him. He's a rubbish manager. But they got close. The managers made errors. And this season, Conte is a serial winner. He had the players. And like I've said before, if Conte and Spurs were playing amazing football for 6 months or 7 months, and now they were falling apart, then yes, every right to blame the players, every right to blame the culture, but they haven't. Spurs haven't even looked close to winning a cup or even a title, even in the Premiership. So I think the disappointment that fans feel is based on the expectation that Spurs had a serial winner in Conte, brought in the players that, okay, not all the players, but they're doing their best to. Got rid of all the deadwood. We expected more from Conte. Expected more. There's not one fan who can't say we don't, So I think Conte has let the fans down and the club down.
Okay, go wrap it up, guys. Got to wrap it up. Thanks, Orin, mate. Do you have a channel or something? Need to need to.
Just Twitter, trolling and stuff. I'll be on Twitter. I'll try to look for you guys, but can't find you. So
I'm there. Dunks,
Yes.
last words from you, mate.
Yes, I'm very thankful what Conte did last night. I think it was great, and I was very much down after that loss, and then after the speech, I thought yes, something could happen. Yeah, a lot better.
I felt worse afterwards.
Have
you got a channel?
And also one more thing, Sean, we have to have a little debate at some point about this pie pieces and a balanced debate. We have to line it out at some point.
100%, mate. You're welcome anytime. I'm going to get back into the streaming, mate. All right, thanks, buddy. What's happening on Hotspur, mate? And last words.
I'm streaming half an hour, so
okay.
We're going to talk about Conte again, of course.
Can I come on, House?
Well, we'll need to be in the chat, but yeah. So I think I'm 7 away from 250. So if 7 people go,
what's the is it Hotspur TV?
Yeah,
yeah. Let me get it up for you. Oh, that's what he said.
In comments. Let me go on.
Where are you? Why haven't I got your number here? I'll find it. Where is it? How do I spell Hotspur? H-A...
Z.
Oh, Z. Okay. I still can't find it. Fuck's sake.
Give me a second.
What's happened there, mate? If you block me from your channel or something, maybe.
No.
Put it in the private chat for me, mate.
Yeah,
but whilst we're waiting for that, Jory, any last words, mate? Always love having you on. Always love to debate with you.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you for the membership, by the way. I appreciate that, mate.
Well, my pleasure. You won't get rid of me now, Sean.
I'm going to be doing one of these tomorrow as well. We're going to come back on to pick this one up
I'll put
where we left off.
Anyway, so,
yeah.
Thanks, mate.
No, I mean, I would say for me, it's. I think I do agree in the sense that fans on both sides of this, or on the many sides of the narrative, get conflates different issues, and I do agree that, for example, I do very strongly agree that it's important to have a good sustained model and all of that. It's just for me, it's so obvious the direct influence of the priorities, the financial priorities of the board. I'm basically seeing that when I see 3 center backs step over each other and fall over each other, and the ball rolls into the corner. This is how I interpret the thing. I don't want to suggest that I would maybe call out to the English part of because I know all the international fans are going to agree with me in this way, even if they're leaving, which very few international fans are. There is a phenomenon in English/British culture. I know this really well because I mainly work with Brits in film, and there's a really, really, really bad reaction to confrontation, even when it's needed. And it's manners, it's appeasement, it's all the stuff we love about British culture is detrimental when it comes to a competing culture, because competing culture needs to be brutally honest and needs to be ripping the Band-Aid off whenever we have a problem. And this is something that rubs English people the wrong way in general. And every conversation that goes that kind of way, I see a long queue of English people apologizing for various things. A lot of English also call it out. I'm not saying that I'm just saying, for me, I see it with the English national team as well. It's a very, you wouldn't see this in Italy and Spain and stuff like that. And not in Denmark, for example. I think Danes are completely in the north and I'm in the north and stuff like that. Yeah. We don't dance around the truth like this. We kind of...
It's not the truth, it's an opinion. Not the truth, it's an opinion. But
Well,
guys, we have to leave it there. Guys,
yeah.
I've got to go. I have to go, guys. I'm 45 minutes late for dinner.
Sorry.
I love you all. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. Thanks, everyone on the comments on the panel. Adrian Chia, Paul Markey, Adrian, everyone, and Jory for the membership. Everyone that was on. Thanks, everybody. Got to go. Love you all. See you again. Cheers,
Come
guys.
on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
How the fuck do I do this stuff, Cam?
Completely forgot to close down the stream. See you, everybody.